It says we're live. Are we live? Who knows? I don't know. We'll find out.
It's not popped up
Hello?
on my screen.
Hello, people of the internet. Are you? Can you hear me? Hello. Good evening and welcome to the Sunday night Reef Dork live stream, the Prestige Reef Dork show, where I'm joined today, as always, by Reef Dork. Reef Dork, that's me, you dickhead.
That's you. I'm glad you were able to join us today.
It has been a long day, Ryan. Well, I'm
Yeah.
joined by Ryan from the UK's #1, possibly the world's #1 coral farm, prestigereef.co.uk.
Personally, I hate it when you say things like this because it's just not true and it probably annoys other people.
But that's why it's so much fun.
Yes.
So-
Well, thank you very much. I try my best. Let's put it that way. And you obviously came to see the coral farm, didn't you, last week? So you had
indeed.
first-hand experience.
I did. I think that was before. Yeah, it was before we talked about that a little bit. But since
we
then,
did.
I bought one of your gunnies.
That's true. Yes. Yes, because you saw it in real life and you went, that's much better than the picture.
That's it. It was the golden gunny, and I can't remember there was a customer in the chat who'd bought it as well.
Yeah, it was pelagic reef.
Pelagic reef
It's
swimmer.
pelagic reef.
Pelagic
Swimmer,
something,
yes,
yeah.
that's it. Yeah, I always get his name wrong.
Yeah. It's because you don't care about your customers, Ryan, isn't it?
No, it's because I don't know how to say the word pelagic, so it puts me on edge.
But there we go. So no, I bought a golden gunny because the photo on your website just does not do it justice. It's so anyway. Enough of that. So we've got people. I mean, two favourite YouTubers.
Well, I mean, you've obviously got a very low opinion of YouTubers if we're your two favourites.
Only two YouTubers he watches, but still.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, hello everybody. We are going to be talking today. So at the start of this live stream, I was talking as it started, and I really don't like that. So next week that's going to change. It's going to mean the countdown comes back in, 30-second countdown, but you'll know when the stream starts, because I hate it when it's like I'm just talking halfway through a sentence, because it makes me think you'll be watching it thinking, oh, what have I missed or whatever. Anyway, so that will be changing next week. How is everybody? Charlie's looking forward to some.
I know that's what I just read. It's like they come for the banter more than the information. I think these days.
Oh, 100%. Well, the banter's good. The information sucks. So.
True.
And that's actually tonight's live stream is about fish, and so the title, the thumbnail is probably going to get people. It will piss a few people off. I don't mean it to be over the top, and I'm not suggesting that this is a campaign to ban everyone. So this is not Peter doing a talk and trying to stop people importing fish. And I'm generally very much of the opinion you can do whatever you want. I don't like nanny state stuff as a general rule. So I'm not. This is really just a chat. Really, this is not a serious. These fish must be stopped. We must do this. There are some that we might feel quite strongly about, mind.
Yeah.
But that's basically it's just a chat around that. But with that being said, there are fish on my list in particular, which I've now lost. But there are fish for sure that if you said to me, if I was in charge of, importing fish into the hobby, and you said to me, would you like to ban them? I would do it. And I suspect same on your list.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing your list now. So
Well, we kind of we always sort of swap notes halfway, like for about 5 seconds before the stream starts, and so I've got a couple of
yeah. So some of them we know. Someone's written ban all groupers. That's an interesting concept. Some of us will agree with that.
Dave Chippendale. Some of us will agree with that.
Yes.
But first thing we're going to talk about then. So I'll tell you what, we'll kick off. And I actually, do you know what, we'll kick off because I've just seen a question. Just another reaver. Good evening. Watch your last week's show. The next day had a fish I wanted to ask Ryan and Alex about. Your thoughts on this video is a good opportunity to. Wow, it's a long question. Clown tang, is it a problematic fish?
Oh my god. That's on my list. Do not buy it. Definitely don't buy a clown tang. What's your opinion? Have you had one?
I have no opinion of clown tangs. I've never had one.
Okay.
I think they look cool, but it's a big tang, and as we discuss every week, I don't like big tangs.
Clown tangs. There are clown tangs are an acanthurus tang, which are aggressive as it is. But I have never known a tang like clown tangs, and they're all the same. Someone might come up and they've got one really, really good one, which is really peaceful. But generally speaking, they are the worst tang you can get. as far as I know, yes, that's them. They get massive, and even when they're like this big, if you get like a Soho tang that's this big, which is the same family, generally they're all right. Clown tangs are just bastards from day one. It's almost like they're born like that. So
You have one, right, in your farm?
no, I have had several. I had one.
Oh, sorry, it was a Sohal tang you had.
I've got two Soho tangs, and they're both
Right.
peaceful. But I've had a clown tang, which I got when I very first started, and I put it in with a fox face that was like 3 times its size, and it would not stop attacking it. And you think of all the fish to attack it, you'd think it wouldn't attack a fox face.
Yeah,
But
because it's going to, yeah.
and this was a big fox face. This wasn't one of the little ones you see in the shops. This was a big one, and the clown tang was like this. They just have a really, really bad attitude problem.
Okay, well, we'll come on to that. There's a couple of things I want to pick up. Ocean's Peace. You should make YouTube shorts clips of these podcasts. I do sometimes put clips, like 5-minute clips, on the Reef Dork Extra channel, XTRA. So check that out if you. I've not done many, but I do sometimes do that. Abbas says he's changed his mind. Melanaris wrasse suck. Now, whilst I agree with him, Melanaris wrasse are not on this list for being boring.
No.
And the fish on this list, and I'm going to kick off with my first one. And the reason I'm going to kick off is because I know this will piss Ryan off.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Copperbanded butterfly.
See, just quickly, but at the very end of last week's stream, Alex said he wasn't going to put Copperbands on his list. So I put them on my list, and now I can't use it.
How can I mute Ryan? Where is it?
Right.
I know, and this is I thought about it, and I just thought it's so the thing is, right, so with the Copperbanded butterfly, then the reason I didn't think I'm undeniable about whether I was going to put it on, because there are enough people that have success that make me think, well, maybe it's okay then. But I think that the reason I decided that it should be on this list is the same reason that I think most of the fish that are on my list are on the list, because there will be some people who have luck with it, but how many fish is it acceptable for us as a hobby to kill for one to survive?
Of course, and I'm almost certain it's like 10 to 1.
Yeah.
I don't. It could be better than that. It could be worse. That's just a guess. But I know loads of people who have had not good success with Copperbanded, including myself a long time ago. One of the things that I want to mention about some of the fish on my list, which applies to this as well, and I would have said this about Copperbanded, is that people can get these fish providing you're willing to give them extra care. So some fish in the hobby need extra attention. They need extra care. They need to be introduced in a certain way. They need to be fed in a certain way. So all of my Copperbands eat something different. So if you're not willing to try and work out what your Copperband eats, because some of them eat mysis, some brine shrimp, some will only eat clams. So you have to be willing to give them what they need. And there's other fish on this list. So
And you're going to have to go through 10 or 15 different types of food to work out what it does and doesn't like.
Yeah,
and it's not just going to be that you try 5 and the 6th one it likes. The 6th one it won't like first time, but it might like the second time or the third or the fourth. So
it's like hand feeding these fish gets very old after like 5 days. where you have to, like, if you're trying to, most people, they throw the food in the tank and then they're done, and they're happy with that. But these, you have to like baby some of these fish.
Well, this is one really good question, actually. How come Copperbands in storefronts seem to survive? And this is the problem with this, is because Copperbands in shops, one of the reasons that you will always see Copperbands alive in stores is because they're only in there for a week because they're so bloody popular. Yeah. When I went through looking for the right specimen, when I bought the most recent one, that is still alive 2 years on, I went looking so many times. I was like, I like that one, because you find them too small or too big, and then one is just right. I was like, do you know what? I like that one. See it feeding. I was like, I'll come back next week and I'll see it feeding again. And you come back the next week and it's been sold almost all the time. Every time I did that, it was gone. And so because they get turned around really quickly, and the fish tend to, in my experience anyway, this might vary, but they tend to last a couple of months, at least a month.
Yeah. And sometimes, not always.
No, and that's the thing. I'm sure there are plenty that do die in shops, but it's because they come in and they go straight away because it's just so gorgeous.
I think that question was actually saying, how come we see them in shop display tanks and they're fine, or shop coral trays, because it says shop fronts. So And so if they're in a coral tray, for example, every time new corals go in there, there's new stuff for the cod to eat. So if you're getting a weekly coral shipment, there's new interesting things for it to
That's a good point.
survive off of.
It's far more likely to eat live mysis, as it are they not mysis? What they call
Copepods.
amphipods. Sorry, yeah.
Amphipods, they eat loads of those things. They also, you put a new rock in there, immediately the cod are over there going, what can I eat? So
so I was so pissed off when I did my fish video the other week. Copperband was on there because he is cool. And when I take my Tunzi algae magnet off, it doesn't float; it just sinks.
Yeah.
He's straight away over sucking up copepods, and he sees them, even the tiny little ones, not amphipods, the copepod tiny ones.
Yeah.
And like hoovers them up. It's really cool. So yeah, I guess if you've got corals and all that stuff going into shops, then yeah, that's what they got. But and ultimately, part of the reason that you see some surviving is because it's not impossible. And I'm not saying it's not impossible.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's so difficult, or it's such a coin toss that it's just, and I do think this is a borderline one, because there are enough that survive, but I bet you're right, probably 1 in 10 survive, and the average life expectancy in the wild, I think I looked this up before, I think it's 10 years or 15 years, 10 years maybe, and in our tanks 6 months.
Not 10 years.
No. And it's like, that's just, it's a tricky one, because I have a Copperband, and I love them, but it's like, if you said to me you must ban Copperbands, tell me why I shouldn't. If I had to try and argue the other side and say why they shouldn't be banned, it's a thin argument.
Sean has actually said that about the Australian ones. There is a difference between the Australian ones do seem to be hardier than, I don't know where the other ones come from. But there is something about Australian ones which seem to take food better than others. I don't know about the long-term survival rate, but I've heard that as well.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know which one mine was, to be fair. That wasn't one of my considerations. Maybe it should be.
Was it really, really expensive? Because if it wasn't really, really expensive and it was just a normal cost one, then it's probably not an Australian one.
I've got a feeling it was 40 quid-ish, but I can't really remember.
I'm sure the Australian ones cost considerably more, but again, Sean will probably know that.
And this is another thing. I know Sean and I like Sean, of course. I don't mean to suck up to the Ocean Project, but getting it from a good shop makes a difference as well. Yes, so there are some shops that are just sort of general shops that are fine for some things, but for the specialist stuff, probably best not to get them. Whereas the specialist shops, like the Ocean Project, and there must be millions in the States, they're so much better, and they'll tell you if they've been feeding, if they've been treated for worms, all these sorts of things. Yeah, and that's another big thing actually. But
so when you said you don't want to suck up to the Ocean Project,
I know I then did. Suck up. I sucked up to you as well with your.
Don't get me wrong. I've been there. I think Sean's shop's great. So.
The other thing actually with that, so just before we go back onto the fish, so the gold gonny that's on your website.
Yes.
I know I'm obsessed with this. £119, you can find it.
Yeah.
When I get it, I'm going to take a photo, and I'm going to post that photo next to your photo, and I will take the photo, not trying to make it look good. I'm not going to play with the saturation in Lightroom. I'm going to try to make it look exactly how it does to my eye. Yeah. And I'll show you how awesome it is.
I'm almost convinced that you only bought that coral so you could take a picture of it.
Do you know what? I wanted to come down and bring my camera. I forgot.
I know.
But yeah, anyway, so Stephanie Queen Reef is in the house, and she wants a Copperband, but getting one eating is hard. And the thing is, if you find one that's eating in the shop, that doesn't really mean a lot. It's the minimum requirement. Yeah. But it's like, if it eats in the shop, a lot of the time you'll see a Copperband eating in the shop, and it'll be like, that one, maybe that one, no. Yeah. And then it'll taste it, spit it out, and then taste another one, and it's like, that's not enough. Because if you put shrimp in your live food in your tank, food in your tank, it goes like that. They're all like, ah! It's a feeding frenzy. So they've got to be, and even then, if they are eating readily and hastily, it doesn't mean they're going to do the same when they get back to your tank. In fact, they won't.
Yeah, I've even found ones which literally hammer the food, where they eat it like seriously properly in a shop, and then you put it into a tank with tangs, and it will stop eating almost immediately. Yeah. There is only one way to introduce a Copperband, as far as I know. You need a little plastic box, so the other fish can't get anywhere near it, probably about a foot long. Have it stuck to the side of your tank or whatever, somehow. and feed the fish in the box and allow the other fish. I usually leave it a week, if not 2 weeks, before I release a copperband. And it's just, see, that's one of those things where people go, oh, do I want to have to buy a plastic box? Do I want to have to stick it and sit on the side of the tank? Well, if you want one of these fish, yes, you do.
That you say that's not what people think. It's what people should think. And really, I think this is the overall message of this is it's not that you shouldn't buy copper bands.
Yeah.
You're fine to buy them. It's just you've got to realise that it is a lot of work. And I'm not just talking try 5 different types of food. All these things you're talking about, it's the things about finding a shop that you know you can trust. Building that trust might take 6 months.
Yeah.
That you know you can trust and find a good supply. Finding one that then is eating really rapidly, feed it, acclimating it so all your fish can see it and get used to it, feeding an absolute ton of food, and that's an ongoing thing. And just there's an endless list.
Yeah.
And it's like, and someone have posted about this is it. So you should provide evidence to the shop that we are actually suitable to have one. The trouble with that is that's then making shops the police.
Yeah.
And that's not fair on the shops. And I thought about this. I thought, well, should there be a way like you can do a test or something or have a certificate? And it's just like it can't work. But
no. Because the other thing is,
even so, I have a copper band that's alive for 2 years.
Yeah.
If he dies and I buy another one, I'm not saying that I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to be able to keep it alive necessarily.
No. Even someone's written in the comments that mine are rescues. I wouldn't say I rescue fish. Most of them, okay, there was one fish which definitely is a rescue because it was going to be put down because it was so aggressive. But I've got a lot of them have come from other people. But that doesn't guarantee it. It's one of my cop bands probably about 4 months ago just stopped eating. It just decided to stop eating, so I tried everything, and eventually, after about a month, it came back, and as in it started eating again. I'm like, well, what's been with you the last month? Because I've had you for like 2 years. But they're just like that, basically.
Yeah, exactly. They're just, and it's, for all these reasons, they are first on the list. We can probably move on because we've been talking about this for what feels like half an hour. But anyway, so that was my first choice, the one I came up with.
Yeah.
What's your first choice?
You don't see these fish that often. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go for a Pinnate batfish. Is one of the ones I. Now the problem is when you see them in shops, they are like cool fish. They're unlike any other fish that's in the hobby, as far as I know. They get massive and ugly, but the chances are they're going to get to that stage is virtually zero. I'm assuming you're looking for a picture of one.
Yeah, I've got one. I'm just bringing it up. Give me a sec.
Now, the issue generally with Pinnate's batfish is actually it's to do with their diet, I believe. I'm sure there was a study a little while ago where they found out they actually have some algae in their diet, which people obviously, if you're feeding them mysis, I'm sure it was a long time ago I looked into them, but they are such a cool looking fish, but they're just a fish you just. It goes in no tank either. What tank can you put that in? Because I'm pretty sure they eat coral.
I do though. I didn't know.
I think they do. Sean might know. I'm not great on weird fish I don't buy. If you see what I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
But they're one of those fish which people that look, don't get this wrong. Take this wrong way. Uneducated people that don't know what they are. Because if you know what they are, you're not going to buy it, are you? But if you don't know what they are, and you'll go, yeah, that's a cool fish. I'll buy that. I'll give it a go.
Exactly. So, and that's such a good point, such an important point, because that's the whole thing about this. Is most of the fish on my list are fish that you would be forgiven, especially if you're relatively new to the hobby. And when I say relatively new, a couple of years. So especially then. But anyone really, even me, sometimes I'll walk into a shop, I'll see a fish and I'll be like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And it would be so easy to be like, do you know what? How bad can it be? Or just, I want it and buy it. And like, so if you take that temptation and then get it home and be like, oh, fuck, it gets to the size of, it's 2 feet long. It's like,
I could absolutely see early me at the very beginning of the hobby when I didn't have any corals buying one of those batfish. Definitely.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, I was not a great reefer at the very beginning. My first 6 months to a year, probably the same as lots of people. There was less information back then, definitely. And you kind of just trusted the shops, and if the shop said to you, yeah, you can have a Pinnate batfish, you just get one. but because the shop just want to get rid of it probably because good shops probably, I don't know for sure, but most shops won't get one in, I assume. So many of you might not have even seen one.
No, yeah, but they're just a really bad idea, and these guys get really ugly as well. They lose those colorings.
Yes.
Let me see if I can find an adult.
It's just a big silver fish, isn't it?
Exactly. I was trying. I had a video for my scuba diving trip that I did years ago, and I'm sure. Here we go. I'm sure one of these was in. What I wanted to do was show you that video, so I can show you what some fish look like in the wild. Because bloody hell, they get big, and fish do grow to the size of the tanks they're in to an extent. Here we go.
Yeah.
Look at that. That is an ugly bastard.
It
fish.
doesn't give you a scale though, but that
I'd like
scale's like this, isn't
Oh
it?
yeah, like foot and a half. I would like that on my plate next to a portion of chips.
Oh,
That looks delicious. But bad taste, no?
well, look, obviously you're talking to a vegetarian, so.
Oh, you're a veggie. Of course you are. Yeah,
We literally went to dinner the other day, and you said exactly
I
the
know.
same thing when I ordered a vegetarian meal.
Yeah, I've got a very bad memory, Ryan. You know. But anyway, so all right, basically any batfish because they get massive,
Correct.
absolutely massive.
But with those, it wasn't about how big they get. It's about they
way
have
they
a
look.
really, really low survival rate.
Oh,
So,
really? Okay.
Yeah, incredibly low. So it's just not a good idea, people.
No, indeed. Well, so I'm crossing him off my list as well because he was on my list as well. I'm gonna try to choose one that I don't think will be on your list as well.
We're now playing fish battleships where we're trying except we're trying to avoid each other's ones.
Exactly. And I think this is probably a safe bet. Oh no, there's some real safe bets, but I don't know. Panther grouper.
Yeah, not on my list. You win. So
Yes, right. Okay. So in which case, and this falls perfectly into the category of the humpback grouper they're known as well from the internet. But this falls perfectly into the category of the type of fish that you see in the shop, and you're like, oh, that's so cool! Look how tiny it is.
yeah.
And I've just found one on in the UK for £39.
Yeah.
Look at that. So you've seen these, right? In
I've
the
seen
shops,
them
and
like this, like really,
Exactly, yeah,
really
yeah,
little baby ones.
So I've not seen them quite that small, but I've seen them a few inches long. Hang on, there we go, a few inches long.
Yeah.
And they look. I've been like, they are amazing. In fact, here we go. Hawks. I saw one yesterday. You see them all the time. They're not as common as like clownfish, but they're common enough that if you've been in the hobby for a couple of years, you've almost certainly seen one of these in your local fish shop.
Yeah.
And I forgot to make my notes of how big they get, but I think these get. Here we go. There you go. I think they were 3 feet long, or they were like 50 kilos or something ridiculous. There we go. Look at that. And that. There we
Is
go.
that the same fish? It looks similar, but
Possibly. Possibly. That might not be. So disclaimer, that might not be it. But I when I looked it up, these fish weren't showing on live aquaria. They were showing on Wikipedia, and it was like. I gutted I didn't check
there was another massive picture in those pictures you showed a minute ago. I'm sure I saw one of like an adult.
Here we go. So this is the Wikipedia page, and I know Wikipedia isn't necessarily facts, but I think we can probably say this is. They get up to, and this is the biggest. So this is an extreme example, 70 centimeters, which is 28 inches, and it gave a weight as well. It was like 50 kilos or 30 pounds. I can't see the weight, but 70 centimeters, 28 inches. That's enormous. And groupers are serious predators.
Yeah.
Like they're one of those fish that have these massive mouths that open and then they go and they're sucking half the ocean. And they're getting whales, they're getting submarines and.
BN3 Reefing has said that they get to 2.5 to 3 foot. So if you think about that, who's got a tank big enough for a 2.5 to 3 foot fish?
Well, I've got a 4 foot 2 inch tank, so it'd fit.
It will fit. I'm not sure it'll be able to turn around.
No, exactly. And just it's just absolutely crazy that they're in the hobby, and because they look so cool. There will definitely be people who think, oh, they're awesome. And this is the sort of fish, to be fair, that almost all shops will police and they will say, do you know what this is, mate? But I guarantee there will be some shops, either ignorant or just want to make a sale, more likely ignorant, that will just say, there you go, What tank you got? 3-foot tank? Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
And that's why it shouldn't be in the hobby.
I had something I was going to say. It's just literally left my head, and I thought it was. Oh, that's what I was going to say. If those fish, like, okay, so when yellow tangs were banned from Hawaii and they became more difficult to get hold of, there was like a ripple effect. It was a big deal for everyone in the industry. Not everyone, but a lot of people.
Yeah.
Not you, because you don't like yellow tangs. But it was a big deal. If one day tomorrow they came up saying we're banning all Panther groupers, how many people are going to care? Like, it would be a minority, a very small amount of people.
0. And that's the thing. So although I said that, do whatever you want, all this sort of stuff, and I'm not genuinely talking about banning fish. This is one that for sure I would say it is better that this is not available to the hobby. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to buy it.
Yeah.
But it should not be readily available just as an item that is in shop. It should be one of these fish that if you want it, you need to speak to your fish shop.
Yeah.
They will contact a supplier. A supplier will then send out a diver who will go and get that exact fish.
Yeah.
They will go and find one for you, and they will bring that one fish back in.
Yeah.
Might cost you 500 quid, might cost you 100 quid, whatever. But that's it. And so you can have it. I'm not saying you can't have it. I'm just saying they should not be all in shops like any other fish next to a wrasse, for example, a yellow wrasse.
It's similar to the batfish where you just go, well, if they stop collecting them, would anyone really notice? There's some fish you would notice if they stop collecting purple tangs or some wrasse and things like that. You notice it, but these are one of those fish the industry will not notice.
No, completely, and this is not going to be. We're not going to be putting Indonesian fishers out of a job, and we're not going to be shutting down local fish shops because of the trade they lose.
Yeah.
And this is a really good question.
Someone will come back and say I'm wrong on this.
But that's it. There will be one person who says that, and probably not in the chat because this is generally a friendly crowd. But after someone because this is the type of topic that can be provocative. I get that. So there might be someone who says after the chat and puts in a comment, there's no way or whatever, but it's like you can't make that argument.
I got told off last week for being too negative, so I was like, didn't I? Yeah, I cried about it all week that someone said I was too negative. So
exactly. And firstly, Sean, I know it's been in here for about an hour. I tried to bat it away, but anyway. All right. So, what are we talking about? Title of the stream. D1 Purge. Really good question. What do you guys think about housing big young fish in a small tank until they outgrow the tank? So, i.e., should you put a yellow tang in a 3-foot tank or a 2-foot tank? What do you think?
Asking me, or are you going to answer?
Well, he's asking both of us, so we'll both ask.
Okay, I believe that people can put tangs in smaller tanks. So the tang police are going to come after me, but this isn't entirely true. This is so distracting when I'm trying to talk.
I know, sorry.
It's not. So I would put a yellow tang in a 3-foot tank, definitely. Yes. Yep. It wouldn't bother me at all. But I know that I would eventually either upgrade or move it to a different tank. It depends. If you're getting a nano tank and putting a yellow tang in it, knowing you're never going to upgrade because you can't afford to upgrade or there's no more space and it's impossible, I don't see there being an issue. Is the honest answer. This is so distracting.
It's on my light.
Have you seen the Breaking Bad episode when? Have you seen Breaking Bad?
Yeah,
with the fly? Brilliant. Yes, that's what this is like.
It's like, Ryan, it's a contamination. We've got to stop everything until we get the fly. Come on, you bastard. Anyway, I'm not going to get it right. So yeah, I completely agree. There are some fish that I wouldn't do that for, but most fish I'm not bothered about. So I've got a foxface in my, not a foxface, a rabbitfish in my tank, and my one-spot foxface. They get big. Have you ever seen a full-size one-spot foxface?
I've seen them. I don't know if it's full size, but I've seen them in an aquarium. I know they get big.
Oh, they're massive, absolutely enormous. So I've got fish in my tank that absolutely are too big, or will get too big. But I'm totally okay with it, and I think the tank police. I think I might be wrong, but I think that's a bit of a dated thing now, and people aren't so bothered anymore because people are a bit more educated about the hobby and recognise that. I don't know. I would have an issue with it if you're chucking in a load of big fish into a small tank, and it's clear you haven't really understood what's going on. But if you're if you're a normal fish keeper and you want to put a yellow tang in a 2-foot tank for a year, that's fine as far as I'm concerned.
It's funny because we're both so distracted
know.
at the moment. You're trying to get the fish, and I'm reading the comments, and someone said, "Don't kill it." Ryan's a vegetarian. He can kill it as long as he doesn't eat it. It's all good. So
Okay. I'm going to eat it.
I don't
protein
care.
in.
Just to clarify, I'm vegetarian because I don't like the taste of meat, not because I don't want ants killing flies or fish or anything like that. So, anyway,
I was thinking that Mr. Miyagi style. Anyway, yeah. So sorry, carry on. But yeah, so I think so. Yeah, I'm fine with it to a point, but I'm fine with it, Jevon.
So I've had a purple tang for, as you know, as people have heard this many times. I've had it for 15 years now, and that purple tang, it's stayed this big. It got bigger than when I first got it, but it's not wild sized purple tang, if you see what I mean. So, and I have another purple tang, which is a big purple tang. So for whatever reason, the one that I've had for a long time has stayed small, even though it was in a 1,000-litre tank. So it's not like it was in a really small tank. And I believe that fish have stunted growth when it's to do with nutrient levels, but it was in an SPS reef tank. So why would that have caused it to, like, the nutrient levels were low? So it's not like you can imagine it was like really high nutrients. So I'm not sure why it stayed small, but for whatever reason it did. It was never the dominant fish in the tank. It was always there was 7 other tanks. It was always one of the smallest. And I wondered if they actually kept it suppressed. I don't know. This is just a guess.
Yeah.
So it's and I've kind of gone off a tangent there. I'm not sure. Oh, we were talking about tangs in small tanks. It's there's a lot of distractions.
A lot of talk about flies. I would not. I think we should ban flies from YouTube live streams. So I'll work on that next week. Anyway, okay. So whose turn was it? Was it my turn? Was it your turn? You did batfish. My turn. I just did Panther grouper. I did Panther grouper.
Yes.
Your turn.
Okay. I got a choice here. This is not what I want to say, but this is just, as I said to you, I want to do an honourable mention and it's not a fish. It's an invert, and I'm going to cover this very quickly.
I've just realised. Sorry.
Yeah.
What I meant to do, because Hannah actually said, "What about Copperbanded?" We've already talked about that. What I meant to do was 2 things. I meant to put up a band list so everyone could see it.
Yeah.
But secondly, I meant what I wanted to do was post a vote.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I'm gonna do a vote on. Oh bollocks! I've got to change to different channel. Sorry.
Ben just said I'm still sad about the feedback about pajama cardinals from last week. So yeah.
Don't like pajama cardinals. Anyway, right. So start a poll. So what was it? Copper.
You can do some quick ones. Yeah, Copperbanded were first, then
exactly.
batfish, and then Panther grouper.
And ban. Don't. Ask your community. There we go. And this is like, I found that I've not done polls before last week. That was the first time. But what I found last week was the most interesting part of the stream and the most surprising part was what people think about certain fish and that. And I was amazed by some of the answers. So I'm really interested. Please do vote, guys. Really interested to see what happens. And by the way, I watched back the stream last week. And what I noticed was that the poll doesn't come up in the comments. It doesn't come up in the chat. So I'm going to read out the results. And so far we are at. So there's a Copperbanded butterfly. Should they be banned? Yes or no? 35% say they should be banned.
Yeah.
2/3 say they should not be banned. 57 votes.
It's interesting because this is almost like a poll about how good our arguments are. So how good we put forward the idea of, because Copperbands, that's a tough sell. Copperbands to say don't collect those because they're pretty and they're useful. So it's a tough sell.
Yeah, this is very true. Well, I'm going to end the poll with 64 votes, and we have 67% said don't ban, 32% weirdly said do ban. But yeah, you're right, and I forgot that they are useful. I didn't forget they're useful, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's the problem, and they're also like a cool looking fish as well.
Indeed. Okay, so and they're so cool, right? Yeah, they're so cool. All right, so the next one that we did was batfish.
Yes. While it's doing that, and we'll catch up gradually. Otherwise, we'll be wait. Oh no, you're back to your fly again.
Oh, come
Why
on.
don't you just open the door?
I have. I've opened the door
Have you?
and the window. I've got my cat here. He's
I was
sometimes.
gonna say get the cat in. The cat will catch it.
Anyway, sorry, you were going to say something.
I just think if we should keep going, and then we can catch up with the things gradually. If you see what I mean, with the pulse.
I'll rattle through it because it won't take long. And actually,
Okay.
batfish. I'm going to end the poll now.
Yeah.
48 votes. 83% said ban.
Yeah. See,
Interesting. Okay, and the last
I'm
one
not
was
surprised by that at all.
no. Well, who? Because like, everyone wants a copperband, don't they? Who wants a batfish? I mean, maybe. But
I'm
not many.
surprised that it was that in terms of that close. In terms of 15% of people said no.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, so the next one then is the Panther grouper, and this is the fish. I'm going to try to influence you. This is the fish that gets almost 3 feet long, and will weigh 50 kilos, which is what 25 pounds.
Yeah, but it
pounds.
looks well cool.
Yeah, so there we go, and that's the last one, and then we'll crack on. In fact, whilst we're waiting for that poll to come in, Ryan, hit me. What's your next shot?
Okay. I've spoken about this before, but this is going to be a difficult sell, but you'll have to bear with me. And I'm going to go for lionfish. And the reason for lionfish is because, and it is not in every country. So in this country, it's fine, but in some countries, the lionfish, when they get into the ocean, which they eventually do, as you've seen in and around Florida and America, they decimate the ecosystem there. And they have a real big problem in America with lionfish, where they have basically got into, as I said, the natural habitat, and they've eaten all the small fish, and they're eating like 30 fish a day. And I think they have something like 8 million eggs when they release them. So it's like they are insanely invasive. And they're poisonous. Nothing eats them.
There's no natural predators. I did see a video of a grouper, actually, funnily enough, eating one of these, and it was like an 8-year-old video, and they were really excited because no one had ever seen it. But and they have to eat it a certain way. It was trying to get face to face with it, otherwise it would get killed by its spines.
Yes.
But if we've got any Floridians watching this, those guys will be all over this because Florida Keys has been decimated by it.
It's interesting that it's only that tight. It's the Volatan lionfish, which is the problem. Now, I have no doubt that some idiot has probably released a different type of lionfish in a different area around the world, or even the Volatan lionfish in a different area around the world. But for some reason, it's on the coast of America. It's like the perfect environment for them. So I'm not saying ban them from everywhere in the world. This is more of a selective to see, because although that sounds strange, in the freshwater industry, there are plants that we can't import into this country. There's freshwater plants that we can't import because if they got into the wild, they would be invasive. So they're literally banned from being sold here. I couldn't give you the name of them. I don't know what they are, but I just know that is definitely the case. So if we can ban plants, why wouldn't we ban invasive fish?
Yeah, and the lionfish. And by the way, the grouper poll finished. 93% said ban, and 6% said don't ban.
I clicked don't ban just to annoy you.
So you were one of the.
So I'm one of the 6%.
Okay, fair enough. All right, but yeah. So with what are they called with lionfish then? So that lionfish just doesn't interest me in the slightest, and I suspect it doesn't interest most people.
Look, lionfish actually interests a lot of people. I think we're talking from our perspective.
No, yeah.
We don't want a lionfish, because we have reef tanks, and we couldn't ever imagine probably having a fish-only tank where you'd put a lionfish in there. But I had a lionfish. They don't do much. They kind of just sit there, and they are also very limiting as to what else you have. But this is more when I'm trying to sell this to you, in terms of you and everyone else. I know that people are going to say don't ban lionfish. I know they're going to say that, but I'm talking about from an environmental perspective. If there are areas of the world which they shouldn't be, don't sell them there. Basically, it's fine here.
Yeah, indeed. And I'm not saying, hey, look, I don't care, so ban it. I'm saying, like, they don't interest me at all.
Yeah.
But that doesn't influence my decision on this. It's not like with copper bands.
Yeah, that was the fish that got me into the hobby, the lionfish.
So this is what like this was when I was a kid when I was watching David Attenborough programs.
Yeah.
The lionfish was I thought it was the most amazing fish ever. And before I started researching the hobby properly, I wanted one.
Yeah, yeah.
After I started, I was like, maybe not.
I had
Like,
one.
you had one, the
Yeah.
Voltan, the big one.
Yeah, yeah, the big one. It was only a small big one, but it's I know I'm going to lose this, but it doesn't matter. I'm just
You
giving you
click
my
it. If I see
perspective.
your finger clicking on this,
Who, me? I always click.
Yeah.
I always vote on them.
right, that's it.
Yeah, I knew I was going to get a don't ban. Of those 69% of people that don't ban, do you want one of those in your tank?
Yeah, but it's a funny one then because really the better question for there is should they be banned from America, for example? Because if you release that into the English
Too
channel,
late in America.
well,
If you see, like they have literally spread the entire length of the coast, pretty much. If you
Yeah.
actually look, and it happens so quickly. I'm sure there's something where it shows in like 10 years' time where they found one to now they find tens of thousands of them.
yeah.
So
Because someone commented earlier, don't they pay people to hunt them? And I think that's right.
yeah, that is true. Yes.
But yeah, but
They have
here we go.
they have clownfish catching competitions. Not
We
clownfish,
go.
lionfish.
We're going political. There's
Why?
a guy in from Florida who says, "I don't mean to get political here, but Ryan, can you show your biceps?"
No, I know. It's so odd. Why do people keep asking for that?
Because you don't show them. It's like
I know.
forbidden fruit.
I know. So you got to come to the coral farm, then you can see them maybe. So I seduce
Lionfish
people
are
in.
extremely evasive, so it's helpful taking them out of the ocean. I mean,
No, because lionfish are not collected from Florida and shipped to England.
and that's not necessarily a bad shout. But first off, the numbers that we collect for the hobby are
Yeah.
minuscule, absolutely minuscule. But more to the point, it's actually putting them into the hobby that causes the problems because people release them into the wild, and it's like, no, you can't do that. That's bloody stupid, but people do it anyway. What are you laughing at?
It says show us your nipples if you won't show us your muscles. There you
can see
go.
his nipples. But... okay, so lionfish. I'm going to end the poll, and that is at pretty much 50-50. 55%.
Oh, that's good. That's interesting.
55% said don't ban,
Yeah.
and I'm going to copy and paste that into the chat. So
When did Ryan show us his nipples? Never. How has this become a thing?
But if you showed us your nipples and your biceps, I mean, we might have to do this on OnlyFans.
Look,
but,
people are already talking about us anyway after we went to dinner, so they're already a bit suspicious.
Anyway, all right. So let's move on from that. And yeah, we'll move on to my next one then.
Yes.
It's going to piss a lot of people off.
I'm waiting for this. I'm ready. I'm like, you haven't got me. You know, sometimes I get really like, you know, I have to describe it like enthusiastic. I've not got to that level yet today.
So this might be on your list. Mandarin Dragonets. or Dragonets.
I did put it on the list and then I crossed it off.
Ooh.
So
Why?
I don't think again, okay, it's one of those fish where people can have success with, providing they are doing the right thing. So if they're doing the right thing on being able to feed it properly, I actually had one myself in the coral farm, not by choice. It was accidentally, I'm not even joking, it accidentally got in there. That's actually true. And it's fine. But obviously that's a 4,000 litre system with constant new coral going in all the time.
Yep.
So it's got plenty to eat. But in most tanks, it's not a good idea, generally speaking.
It's a terrible idea, and this is another one that is the same. I know I'm going to lose this vote. I know that because it's one of the most stunning fish in the hobby. They're absolutely beautiful, but they are. Oh, that's a good shout actually. Yeah, pink or brown.
I know. What is with this?
Okay, so I'm going to put Mandarin Dragonet and don't.
So what you and Alex do in the privacy of your coral farm is not our concern.
So the reason that Mandarin Dragonet is on the list is because this is another one where, yes, some do survive. Yeah, there are a very small percentage, 1 in 10 maybe. But how many is it acceptable? If we import 100,000 a year, I don't know the numbers. Is it acceptable that we kill 99,000 of those for 1,000 to live?
Yeah, I agree with
and
you.
I've tried that fish a number of times, and there is no downside to these apart from they don't eat. because they're reef safe, they're peaceful unless you put them in with a conspecific.
Yeah.
They don't get too big. They
They're
can
not
live in
always
small tanks.
peaceful. They're not always peaceful. I kid you not. I have a video on my phone somewhere of a mandarin with the entire fin of my clownfish in its mouth, and the clownfish is doing this, trying to shake off the mandarin.
That's extremely rare, though.
That is very rare. I've never seen it again, and I can't imagine anyone else has ever seen it again. But
85% don't ban. But it's just there's so many of them die, and this is a fish that we can breed in captivity.
yes, that's what I was thinking.
So why the hell take them out of the wild? And with taking them out of the wild, it's not like we're pillaging the oceans and there won't be any left in 10 years, because we've been pulling these fish out of the oceans for years, and when it's done sustainably, which is for the benefit of the people who get the fish in the first place, gather the fish. When it's done sustainably, you're not going to wipe out the population, and that's not going to happen. But controversial. But why do it? Especially if we can captive breed them. Are mandarins 100% captive bred? No, absolutely not. Very few are. If you get the tiny ones that are less, a centimetre or two long,
and
they
they're
are
in
captive
America,
bred.
probably.
No, you can get them over here as well.
Can you?
I saw them at Abyss. I've seen them at Reefkeeper Moss End. That you can definitely get them here. Not so often, but it's just for me it's crazy because they're so, and they're another fish that, because they're nano friendly and they're peaceful and they're reef safe and all this, and they're so stunning, they're like beginners can't help themselves, and I count myself in that category. When I joined the hobby, it was literally impossible to resist, and as soon as I got a bloom of copepods, bang, I bought my clicking's not very good tonight.
Yeah,
I bought a mandarin and it died.
yeah, that's the problem. So that's the problem. I think Hannah's flirting with me. It says, let's see your chest hair. Are you talking to me or Alex? I am incredibly hairy, so
you're like Team Wolf, aren't you? But,
so yes.
But okay, so I'm losing this battle 84%. But what do you think, Ryan? What do you think about mandarins?
I actually clicked ban for that list. I did, but only because you can get captive bred ones. It's as in, so don't ban the captive bred ones.
Yeah.
You'll have a higher survival. There's no guarantee, but you'll have a higher survival chance. Because the chances are, well, I'm just speculating. The chances are the captive bred ones are fed copods as well. I'm sure they're fed copods at first anyway, if you think about it.
For sure, at first, yeah.
Yeah. So they've still got the issue where they might not eat. And it's not just that either. It's actually getting food to them is a problem with the mandarins. Some mandarins will eat. It's just you can't get the food to them quickly enough.
Yeah. But that £100 versus £35, that is a good thing, because if you banned the import of wild mandarins, suddenly you've got to spend 3 times the amount of money to buy a mandarin.
Yeah.
And so it's not an impulse purchase anymore. It's not like you go into a shop and go, oh, that's cool, I want one. You're going to go and go, oh, that's cool, £100, bloody hell, no chance.
Yeah.
And then if you're more likely to do your research or that sort of stuff. So I think that would be a good thing to have captive bred only. But I'm ending the poll because 93 votes, 83% said don't ban.
There was a comment earlier that I've lost it now. Oh, here it is. Big ring octopus. The problem isn't the fish, it's the people.
Blue ring octopus.
Oh, sorry, blue, yeah. Like, I'm dyslexic, people, so I just pick whatever words I want to pick. That's why you never really see me reading the comments. The problem isn't the fish, it's the people and their irresponsibility. To some extent, that does apply for a lot of these fish. Like, you can keep a batfish if you've got a public aquarium, for example. So it's not like they're impossible to keep. It's just they're not a good idea, if you see what I mean.
Blue ring is particularly, it goes double for blue ring octopus, though, don't it? Because they're
no. His name is blue ring octopus.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Right, I see. Sorry, I thought he was talking about.
No, I was reading it and I read big ring octopus tonight.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I see. Okay.
You must have thought it's right on drugs because no one has blue ring octopus.
No, as you said that, I was like, I didn't put blue ring octopus on my list because to be fair, I've never seen one in a shop. I've just seen them on Instagram.
They are on
people handling them.
They are on import lists sometimes.
Really?
I have seen you see some all sorts of weird, crazy things on him quite regularly. It says black tip reef shark. I would love to know if anyone has ever ordered one of those from that import list, and for it to turn up and what it turns up in. Sean,
Yeah.
you have a shop. You have a shop. Yep. Black tip reef shark. Reef shark. Next time you do an import.
I know that Sean has what's it called? He has a couple of sharks in his shop.
Does he?
Oh, well, he did have temporarily in the sump system.
Well, you're not gonna like me later, Sean.
Well, let's move on then. So we're going to move on from mandarins because I've lost that battle hard.
Okay.
What's yours?
Again, this is another one which is going to be. I think we know like what these fish are like, and we know the impact of them. I think some people are just voting. Do I like the look of that fish? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. for sure.
Because otherwise, most people would say that would probably side with us with the Copperbanded, if you see what I mean. I'm going to go with another controversial one, and you don't see them anywhere near as often as you used to. Cleaner wrasse. Cleaner wrasse are not a good idea. Firstly, they don't help with ick. So
Right.
they don't help. They don't help with ick or parasites, right? They do provide some sort of cleaning service, in terms of like they eat stuff off the fish. That's what they're doing in the ocean, but they're not going to cure any of your parasite
No, correct.
issues, if you see what I mean.
Same for cleaner shrimp, by the way.
I just see what you've written. That's true. Same for cleaner shrimp. Now,
52%. Interesting.
Now, people are buying cleaner wrasse generally, not because they're like pre-fish or because they want a cleaner wrasse, because they think that it's going to do a service which it doesn't do for you, firstly. And the second thing is, there is an issue, again, in the ocean where fish are going back to the same cleaning stations and the cleaner wrasse have been collected and they're not there anymore. So they're providing a service to the fish. Imagine if all of a sudden someone picked up all the hairdressers and took them away, and everyone will go, "What happened to all the hairdressers?" Why are you laughing? Oh, well, I suppose you don't have to worry about hairdressers, do you?
What's a hairdresser?
Yeah. So I completely forgot about that. So
I thought you were taking the piss, but
no, I wasn't. I actually wasn't saying that. 40% said.
41% say Ryan, show us your biceps.
What?
41% say ban. 19% say don't ban.
Yeah. See, if you'll get less YouTube engagement if I ever actually show my biceps, because then people will stop asking every week.
But yeah, so the cleaner wrasse, I completely agree with that. So I've bought cleaner wrasse in the past because I think they're a really cool fish, and I like when you put your hand in the tank, they come and nip you.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. I think it's an entertaining fish. But I got rid of my most recent one because it started pecking at my clam, as it were, and my dorasa. Ryan's frozen. So I don't like cleaner wrasse in the hobby either. But you're absolutely right, because they get taken out of the wild and actually perform an important task, which is why Ryan thinks that they should be banned. I'm going to end that poll, and whilst we wait for Mr. Prestige Reef to come back, I will post this in the chat as well. There we go. Right. Okay. So that is that one in the chat. We're going to move on to my next fish. And my next fish, in fact, you know what? I'm going to boot Ryan out. 1 second. Kick speaker. There we go. Boot him. He can rejoin. Is that worked? Has that worked? Kick speaker. Do you want to kick him? Yes, I do. There we go. Right. Ryan, come back. Okay, fine. So there we go. So that's cleaner wrasse done. All right. So next one. Actually, do you know what? Let's catch up with the chat whilst I'm waiting for Ryan to come back. Blue spotted jawfish. That is a great shout, Chris. He's not on my list. I don't know if he's on Ryan's list, but that is a really good shout. And as far as I'm concerned, they are in the same category as copperbands and mandarins, because they just die. They have a terrible survival rate. I was so tempted to buy one. I got a yellow-headed jawfish in the end. And he's fine. He lost an eye, but he's fine. He's been alive for years. So blue spotted jawfish, that's probably a good shout, actually, because even with the blue spotted jawfish, there's an alternative, the yellow headed jawfish. So we'll see. Let me just have a look. Hang on. Hi, Ryan. All right. Okay. Cheers. Bye. All right. Bye. Ryan's computer has crashed, so I've got to take over a bit. But there we go. So no, that is not on my list, but it probably should be. And better left to help the reefs. Did I post that one for the? I did, didn't I? Right. Okay. Alrighty, let's have a look then. What else we got going on in the chat? Nothing. I think we covered all the stuff in the chat. So, my next fish is, and I'm going to pull up a photo of this because you might not know what it is unless I show you. So here we go. And this, I think this might be the fish actually that I saw the weight for. In fact, here we go. Ryan is back. Prestige.
Oh, am I back? I can't
You're
see
back.
you, so I don't know if you can see me.
We can see you. Can you hear me?
Good. Yes. Yeah. Weird. My computer stopped for some reason.
Yeah, weird. Anyway, so I was just moving on to my next fish, and this was, and I'm going to try to get rid of the, before I bring it up, I'm going to try to get rid of the adult one because I want you to see the juvenile. There we go. Let's do that. Right. So, is it my turn, by the way? Yeah, you just did clean.
Yeah, I did clean a wrasse. I'm just reading the old comments now. Someone said, "Don't let him back."
Yeah. Okay, so my next one is the sweetlips, Harlequin sweetlips. Do you know what that is?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So these are another one like the Panther grouper that you see 2 inches big, maybe even smaller in the shop, and they look so cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome fish. And this was the one that I did research. These get to, again, 2.5, 3 feet long, and they weigh something like, where was it? Was it like 50 kilos? No, sorry, I'm massively exaggerating. But right, okay, so maximum length is 28 inches, although 24 inches is more, 2 feet long is more typical. Maximum weight is 7 kilos, 15 pounds, 7 kilograms. And that's what it looks like when it's an adult.
It's still cool as an adult. There are other cooler. I'm not sure if they're sweet lips or ornamental sweet lips. Have you seen those?
Ornamental, maybe. Let me have a look. Ornamental, sweet potato lips.
Ornamental sweet potato.
Oh yes, yeah. I thought that was a snapper, if I'm honest, but yeah, same story basically.
The adults are cool.
Oh, oriental, not ornamental.
Oh, oriental. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the adults are cool. Yeah, the adults look like snappers to me, yellow snappers.
Yeah.
It's another massive one. But that's the same. Basically, this is the same category as me, of sweet lips. Any sweet lips, because they get enormous, and nobody has got. Again, if you've got a tank you happen to have like an outdoor saltwater pond, for example, and you want to order one of these in, I've got no problem. Knock yourself out. It's just that they shouldn't be in the shop when they look like that and they're an inch long.
Yeah.
For you, 40 quid that one is. £40, and it's a really cool fish that you could be like, yeah, cool, I'll buy that, and then suddenly it's like, oh god, it's a disaster, everything's gone pear-shaped.
Yeah, I think Polo's Reef has one in that massive tank. I think he does, I'm sure, and it's a bit of an odd choice because surely it eats the other fish. I might be wrong.
I'm surprised. I'd be surprised if he does have, to be honest. But
I thought he did, and I'm sure I've seen someone with a big tank where they have one. I just thought that's insane. How is that not eating everything?
Yeah,
I might be wrong. So,
fair enough. Well, annoyingly, my comments has gone, so I can't post it. It's not keeping up with new comments, so I can't post new comments. Annoyingly, but I'll keep an eye on them anyway. But so I tell you what, we'll post a poll on that because I don't think I'm going to get much of an argument from you.
No, not from me. I'm not. I bet most people will go. We don't really care.
Yeah. And let's see if there's the 10% who are just like, no, you know what, I want it. By the way, actually, if you vote don't ban on this, tell me why in the chat. I'm interested to know, because there will be some people who do. What are you laughing
at? 1 second.
Oh, dead air. Dead air is a crime, Ryan.
Oh, there you go. I put in the comment section why. I wrote. I mean, I clicked.
You voted don't ban just to annoy me. Okay,
yes.
So not you, anyone else. And Simon accidentally clicked don't ban. So it's 90-10%, and basically 2 people don't count. So, but if you've genuinely voted, I'm not telling you you're wrong, but I'd be really interested to know why you think they shouldn't be banned, because I just don't see. It's the sort of thing that's going to catch out. It's a trap for the unwary, basically, and I think it's unnecessary.
There's a lot of these probably are a trap for the unwary.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Is that a saying? I've never even heard that saying before, but I just repeated it.
It's lawyers love saying traps.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're not all fancy legal people like you. So, some of us are just laid back coral farmers. So,
basically,
so bless.
have a choice. If they have a big tank, it should be special order. I agree.
Yeah.
That's one of the comments. I agree. It should be special order. I'm going to take a risk, Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm going to try refreshing my page because it's not bringing up the comments.
Okay.
So this might result in the stream going down. Here we go.
Well, oh no, I'm still here anyway. So if people can, oh no, I'm here, and looks like you're coming back. So
I think we're back.
You left me alone for a second. Then did the comments come back though?
Nope.
That didn't work. It's all over the place. I wonder if it was me because when I left, did they go when I got cut out?
Yes, actually, coincidentally. But anyway, whatever. We'll carry on. All right. So it just means that I can't post up people's comments. So, all right, I'm going to end that poll at 88% say ban sweetlips, which I think is probably fair.
It's pretty much everyone because obviously I was part of the 1%, part of the 11%.
And yeah, that was 76 votes. All right. So sweetlips is my one. What's your next one?
I'm going to go with, this is an easy one. Basically, all sharks and all rays, because they're just not a good choice. Even people, so someone I know has a massive tank that you have to get into to clean, and he had both a shark and a ray in there in his reef tank. I think both of them ended up dying, and both of them were a poor choice because he had to specially feed them, and they were a pain in the arse, and they don't do anything. So, look, rays are a little bit more interesting than sharks, and this was one of the sharks that sits on the bottom. It's like a coral cat shark, where 98% of the time they do nothing. So, why do you want one? And you don't have a tank big enough for one of those fish, adult size, if you see what I mean. No. So, and something a little bit more controversial, which I'm glad you put the poll up already. I even, to some extent, include most eels, because like eels are a bit different. They don't move much. They don't need a huge amount of space. It's just, why do we need them? If you see what I mean, it would be the minority of people that want to have it. I could be completely wrong. Sean might come on here and say I sell 10 eels a week, for example. If you see what I mean, but in my opinion, I don't see a huge benefit. There's only two eels I would get as well. It would be a snowflake and a zebra eel. If all other ones just are not necessary.
Well, this is so zebra eel. So I'll tell you a story, and I'll leave out the name of the shop. I did hear a story about a shop that sent a member of staff to an importer and brought back a moray eel accidentally. Meant to bring back a zebra eel, I think, and it was a baby moray, but they get 10 meters long or 10 feet long, whatever. And that was then sent back the next day, so it was all sorted. But I don't know why I told you that. I feel like I had a reason, but anyway. So eels, I'm surprised you're putting in all eels. What about the little? They're smaller eels, aren't they?
Actually, golden moray eels are pretty.
Golden morays.
Look, don't get me wrong, I've sort of just bunched them all in together like a weird group of like fish, but there's just not that many people that, as far as I know, that keep eels, and most people who do keep them end up getting rid of them because they're boring. So now that's just me speculating. That could be completely wrong. Someone put something in the comments a minute ago. You can get dwarf sharks which are achievable. You can get the smallest sharks which are readily available are coral cat sharks, and yes, they do start this big when they come out of an egg, but they don't stay this big for like long term. Yeah. All eels. No, look, I'm definitely going to lose that one.
Well, you are, because if I could vote on that, I'd vote don't ban.
I didn't say all eels. I said most eels, except snowflakes and zebra eels. Definitely ribbon eels. Ribbon ones, like those are notorious for not eating.
What about garden eels?
Even worse, I think. Aren't garden eels
very difficult?
Yeah, they're just.
They were one of the fish that. So my local fish shop, Maidenhead Aquatics in Chichester, which doesn't sell marines anymore. They had a garden eel tank when I was getting into the hobby.
I remember that.
It was the coolest. Of course, you don't live far. It's the coolest fish in the world. They're so awesome, but they're extremely difficult to keep. In fact, a video about the garden eel is Inappropriate Reefers' most watched video.
Yeah, I know. But that was in an aquarium. That was in like a public aquarium.
Public aquarium.
See, I watch his videos.
I know, but you watch the. What I found is you watch the ones that of my videos, so you don't watch them week to week, but you watch the ones that have really enticing titles.
Occasionally I do. Occasionally I do. And then I'm always disappointed when I'm like, oh, he's clickbaited me again.
Outrage. I'm going to boot you out again. Anyway, okay. So I've finished the poll on eels and 71% said don't ban. So yeah, Ryan, stop trying to, why do you hate people?
Oh, why do I hate them? Look, as I said, I don't know. I don't know anyone who keeps an eel. I know lots and lots of fish keepers, but I don't know a single person who keeps an eel. So if there's not that many people keeping them, I don't know. Again, Sean probably will tell me, like how often that he sells them. If you see what I mean.
So we've got a question about epaulet sharks. What about epaulet sharks?
I think again probably
Same.
Yes, they're the same.
I feel like with those, I would probably agree that they should be banned. In this hypothetical YouTube conversation, banning, not like ban them, but I do think that that's another one that would be good for special order, because there are some people who have a genuine not need for them, but can care for them properly. And actually, you must have watched Tanked back in the day.
Yeah.
Brett Raymond, the other guy, they were all over shark. They had like raceway shark tanks because they need raceway tanks, like oval shaped tanks, because otherwise they bump into the end apparently. Yeah. Or they're more likely to. But and they got very sensitive noses, of course.
Epaulets are the ones that would seduce me into
seduce you.
Yeah, as in like if I was going to get a shark, that would be the one I'd get.
I've heard stories about people like you. All right, I'm gonna. So that's your one. I'm tempted. I've got some real spicy ones on here. There's going to be someone watching this who doesn't like my channel.
I've got some as well. I think we're going for safe options first.
Oh well, I'm going to chuck a grenade out there, because there'll be some people who watch this who don't like my channel, who think I'm an idiot, and then I'll say this and they'll be seething.
Wait a minute. I think I know what this is going to be. But go anyway. No. So, are you referring to me when you said some people that don't watch your channel who think you're an idiot? Because I think you're going to say Boxfish.
No, I'm not going to say Boxfish. I'm going to say Chromis.
I know why you're saying it, but I'll let you go.
So Chromis, and this is I'm not going to win this battle. I recognise that. Chromis are actually, as far as I'm aware, the best-selling fish in the hobby in the UK.
Yeah,
I believe that to be correct, and I got that from a reputable source.
Yeah.
So I believe they are the fish that is sold most, because they're £5 each, and you don't buy one at a time. You buy 5 or 7 at a time, or whatever.
Yeah.
But they almost every single time whittle themselves down. So you'll buy 7 because you've heard they're less aggressive in odd numbers, and all this sort of stuff, and because it looks really cool. And they all whittle themselves down till there's one left. And I've had them, and they are so cool. They're awesome, and shoaling behaviour is possibly the most interesting behaviour in the hobby. So to get a fish like that shoals, I love it. And they're small, they're reef safe, wicked. They won't eat my hermit crabs, cool. But the reality is they don't really shoal.
I was going to say they don't really shoal.
They spread out. They do some if they're spooked. They come together.
Yes.
But they spread out quite a lot. You'll tend to get a couple will pair off, or and then you'll almost everyone will end up with one left.
Yeah.
And so so by that rationale, I bet even more of a percentage. If 9 out of 10 copperbands die, 9.9 out of 10 chromis die. I bet.
I know what you're saying. I do agree with that is a problem with them. There's only really one shoaling fish that I know of that people can have where it's like properly shoaling, which I think is a type of cardinal fish. You'd have to work out what it is.
Yes, red spot cardinal fish.
I think I've seen I think their ghost cardinals do it as well, but so maybe it's cardinal fish, some of them. But so I have some chromis in the coral farm. They were given to me when that 3,000 litre tank burst. And I've got a load of chromis in there. The only thing they're quite interesting because when they sleep amongst the coral, I agree with what you're saying. Then they do usually kill each other. Have you seen an adult Chromis? Like a proper adult Chromis when they're like this?
Not that big, yeah, they're
I
massive.
know they're massive. I was given 2 of them. I used to buy a lot of tank breakdowns, and they just came with these 2 massive Chromis. And that obviously, I remember the guy said that he started with like 10, and then they whittled themselves down, and then those 2 used to breed. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, they used to spawn, and then they used to attack everything. So maybe not. It wasn't that cool.
No, okay. And that's the thing. So some people do have success with him, of course, but
Yeah.
almost everyone doesn't. And I'm going to get pilloried on this one. So let's post this then as a poll and see what people say. And in fact, let me just scroll back and see what other people are saying. There's too many comments coming in. They'll kill each other or die from uranema. Yeah, that's another thing they get. They get uranema.
Do you know what I've realised from doing this? Sometimes in the live streams, I have like an epiphany, and it makes me realise something. It doesn't matter how good of an argument that we're putting forward. Like you just said, look, Chromis, they all kill each other, and then you look at the thing and it goes, 79% of people said we don't care, just keep raining him, and that's it's really interesting. Do you find that really interesting?
I do, and that's what actually one thing on that is. So people, I hate the word influencer. I've said that 1,000 times. I don't like the thought of being described as an influencer, but I probably have to accept that a lot of people see me that way. Shut up. But
Influencer.
I hate. But honestly, anyway. But this shows that, and there will be some things that I influence people on, and I'll make videos, and people will do things that I say or whatever. I get that, but this also shows that actually a lot of the time, people are sensible and can form their own opinions.
Yes, yeah. All I've just realised from that statement is just how famous you are. You're like the most famous person I know.
Shut
up. So,
apart from yourself.
Don't try and drag me down with you.
Too late. But okay, so I'm going to end that poll because I've lost. 79% said don't ban, actually. So
we do a poll of how many people think Alex is famous.
No, we're not going to do that poll. I am in charge of polls, and I vote no. All right. So, what's your next fish then, Smarty Pants?
Right. So I've done sharks. I've done cleaner S. This is not my thing, but I tried to do it earlier. But this is an honourable mention. This is not a fish. This is an invertebrate, and the reason it came up is because I've had several people do the consultations with me recently, and I'm surprised people are still buying these fish. Not fish. These inverts, and it's the Linckia starfish. Those big blue starfish you see that are like when you see them in the shops or whatever, you just go, wow, that is the most amazing blue I've ever seen. Yeah, people just do not have success with them, so stop buying them. If you want a starfish, buy a serpent starfish or a brittle starfish, but not
That's
one
not
of the
same thing, is it?
I know it's not the same, but no one knows. No one knows what Linckia starfish eat. I don't think. I'm pretty sure they eat some sort of bacteria or sponge. So
and you're. I feel like you're being a fun sponge here because look at that. That's cool.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why
tell me you don't want
why
that.
don't you put a poll up and then you can click don't ban.
It is right. Yeah, I will actually. Come on, loading. I don't want. There we go. Look at that. Yeah.
The fact, so there's a few comments that just come in. One of them says you can't expose them to the air. I'm pretty sure that's wrong. That's sponges you're thinking of. But that's a common misconception.
That's a myth. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's lots and lots of people think you can't do that. Feathered starfish is another one that Josh has just said is true. Fun sponge. It's rude. But a few people are saying that are agreeing with Linckia starfish. I agree with you. In fact, I remember seeing a Linckia starfish from when I was 6. I reckon I was probably 6. That was the very first marine tank I ever saw. It was at my sister's friend's house. And I still remember they had one of those blue Linckia starfish. And I look back now thinking, pretty sure that died. Do you see what I mean? So 6-year-old...
Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say 6-year-old me definitely wants one.
I have come very close to buying one of these within the last 6 months.
I only know one person who has one who's had success with it, and it's the guy with the massive tank.
Okay, fair enough.
So I will do a fish if you want, but it's up because
no. I'm going to do given you're going off topic.
Okay.
We actually could have done a whole live stream. So you've torpedoed my next live stream idea, but we could have done a whole live stream on inverts, but I don't think we'd have enough.
Yeah, loads.
With that being said, my next one is an invertebrate.
Oh, we're just going off topic, are we? We're just going crazy.
This is my honourable mention.
Oh yes, that's true. So I have one. Okay, you can have one too.
Oh well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. God. And mine is the Harlequin shrimp.
I know why, but
Okay, so I'm just going to end that poll because it was 80%. Don't ban the blue Linckia starfish. Ooh.
no, it wasn't.
It was. Swear. Ban
No.
76%. No. 76% ban.
Yes. I was like, what?
Okay. All right. So now, every now and then, I am a complete and utter hypocrite.
Yeah.
And this is one of those occasions because I have owned Harlequin starfish, and I even Harlequin shrimp, and I even made a video in which I said they were cool, but I did say in that video they're gonna bloody die, so don't buy them.
Yeah.
But I still got accused of being irresponsible, which goes with the territory. But
You're like
here
the
we go.
worst type of influencer, an irresponsible one.
Exactly right, yeah. But this is then stop calling me an influencer. This is the Harlequin shrimp. So here are the two that I bought. These are as my orange towel.
Yeah.
Look at, they're so cool. Please
Yeah.
don't buy these. Please, if you're watching this, don't buy this. I know they're cool, but and they've got these armored casings, and they walk around funny, and they're an absolutely wicked animal. But if so, and this is I hate this. Can I just put back to where we were before? But whilst they are a cool animal, when we say, "Oh, Copperbanded will die,"
Yeah.
that actually will die. Not just it probably will. It will die. It can only eat. It is not physically, biologically capable of eating anything other than starfish. And so, and what you'll be thinking, what people think is, oh, well, I've got a load of Asterina starfish. It'll live off them. Give it 3 months, give it 6 months, it'll get through them.
Yeah.
And then they sit in the corner of their tank, dead still, until they sense starfish. If you put starfish in, they'll move towards it.
Yeah.
And they will waste away and die because it is not physically. You can't wean them off onto prepared food. You can't give them alternatives. They will die if they don't have enough starfish to eat.
Yeah.
So it is just impossible. And I think it's and the argument against that is, well, they're really good at getting rid of Asterina starfish, though.
Yeah.
Do you know how easy it is to get rid of Asterina starfish?
You pick them up and throw them out the tank.
Come down early in the morning when the lights are off. And when I say early,
Oh, yeah, I know.
You don't have to get up at 3 in the morning. 8 a.m. They're all over your glass.
Yeah.
Just reach your hand in, pull them out. That's it. That's how to get rid of them. So you do, and if you get Harlequin shrimp to do the job, they will wipe out all of your Asterinas. Then they'll either die because you can't catch them, or like I did, I fished them out and took them back to my local fish shop, and then they die in someone else's tank. And then at that point, you're like, well, it doesn't matter because they've done the job. But guess what? There were 2 Asterina starfish they didn't eat, and they'll come back. And that is a guarantee with any pest, whether it's a copper-banded butterfly. If you take a copper band out after it gets all your aptasia, guess what? There was one in your sump or one in your weir box. It is not possible. It is not possible for any predator in a tank to wipe out everything.
Yeah.
All the pests. So you'll take your Harlequin shrimp out, and you'll get them back. So it's only a temporary measure, and it's pointless.
I agree. I
It was
agree.
my impassioned speech, and I am now going to post the poll. Harlequin shrimp. Ban?
Or ban. Ban
Yeah,
or ban.
or ban. Oh, that'd be a good one. But let's see. But and at the end of the day, I've bought 2, and so I'm a total hypocrite. And they are just gone.
Do you know what's interesting? In Australia, I'm pretty sure a pair of them cost $1,000. So you're not
really?
Yeah, because you can't get them in Australia. So Australia obviously have very, very funny, not funny, rightfully so. There's only certain things you can import into Australia.
Yeah.
There's only certain fish, because if it's going to be a problem in the wild and someone releases it, they take their reefs very seriously. So the only way you can get something is just by pure luck or if someone has probably snuck it in the country somehow. And if you're doing that in Australia, I won't even sneak a sandwich into Australia because when you arrive there, it says no food. So
I heard a story this weekend. No, actually, do you know what? So I went to Australia years ago, Sydney.
Yeah.
And I had mud on, dried mud on my shoes.
Yeah.
And they fucking flipped out at me.
They do.
And they were like, they were starting to ask me like, right, so have you been on a farm in the last 6 months? Have you been, all these questions? It was years ago. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I was like, dude, it's England. It's muddy everywhere. It's wet. It rains 9 months of the year.
Yeah.
But they, and that's right that they should do that. They're absolutely right. But they're really funny about stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the other thing with these is, so what's the crown of thorns stars? You heard of them?
Yes. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So that is an invasive starfish. They're massive. They're about this big. They're covered in thorns. It looks like a massive. It looks like something from a horror show, basically.
Yeah.
And they eat corals, and they go through, and there are arguments that say they do more damage than global warming to corals.
Yeah.
And so anything that you take out of the sea that eats starfish, that is then no longer in the sea to eat the starfish, is a bad thing. So there's a double whammy there.
I wonder if I think the crown of thorns. I don't know if this is true or not. Are they? I think they're native, but they got out of control. I think.
Really?
I think they were.
Oh yes, sorry, yeah. Okay.
I think that there's. I'm sure there was something to do with nutrients being dumped from some like fertilizers and stuff like that from farms and things like that, which caused a big problem, like an explosion of the starfish. I watched this documentary a long time ago, so that might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they were there naturally. It's just there's just now too many of them.
Yeah.
It's the same. There was a place as well where they harvested all the lobsters, not realizing the lobsters. It's a kelp forest. The lobsters eat the urchins, and now the urchins are eating all the kelp because they got out of control. So we can easily cause an imbalance in the ecosystems. But it usually comes down to if we're eating them. We were eating the lobsters, and that's what we need to do with the lionfish. We need to start eating them, and then we'll wipe them out.
Don't look very delicious, though, do they?
People they are trying to get people to eat them in Florida.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're trying to make it a more mainstream thing, because what's the difference between eating cod?
I mean, cod's delicious.
So might lionfish.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Well, give me a lionfish. But the trouble with a lionfish is people are going to be like, yeah, but if you cooked it properly, what about if I get venom?
Oh, yeah, I know, yeah.
Because they're a puffer fish, aren't there? That if you... There's one in Japan where like you have to train for 30 years to cook it.
Yeah.
And if you don't cook it right, you kill everybody in the restaurant.
Yes, that's true.
So, and I don't know if that's the case with lionfish
It's
venom.
not.
Maybe you boil it, but people would think it.
So venom and toxins are two different things. Venom gets injected, and so I don't think if you eat it, it makes a difference. I think that's.
I'll tell
correct.
you what. Next time you're in Maidenhead Aquatics, eat one of their lionfish. And
Yeah, I was like, it's a bit crunchy.
Yeah. Okay, so I've closed that poll, and and we're done. So right, you next. And you said, did you have some controversial ones on there?
Well, okay. This one I think will be one of the more controversial ones, and that is this all sand-sifting gobies, all of them, because there's two reasons. Most of them starve after a period of time because they can't eat. You can't give them enough. You can give them enough food, but generally speaking, the average reefer is not willing to put the effort in to keep them alive, giving them the correct food. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is they jump. So there will be. I would love for people in the comment section tell me if you've had any sort of sand-sifting goby, whether it be like an orange, the orange diamond ones or the blue-cheeked ones. You get those pink ones that are the same as blue cheeks as well. And let me know what happened to it. Did it jump? Have you still got it 10 years later? Did it starve? Because I had one. In fact, I had two. Both of them starved. I had an orange spot, which was meant to be a better one.
Okay.
What ones are those?
These are blue cheek, I think. Oh,
Yeah,
they're blue. They got blue spots. Is that blue cheek?
So we've got one person saying, in fact, rather than doing a poll saying ban, don't. I know they keep it normal actually. See, someone said, look, I've had 3, all of them starved. Tony Marsh says I had one. It died. It starved. So, and then some people say they've had it for 5 years. so,
so what you're saying there is you want to ban fish that clean people's sand beds.
look, sandbeds do not. I've never had one. You don't have one, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, do
It's
you?
a bloody mess, but I've got one.
Have you had it for ages?
Yeah, since the start of the tank. Yeah.
Well, how are you keeping it alive then? Because we want to know your secret.
Am I keeping it alive? Oh, what, like clean?
No, how are you keeping the fish alive? Because as I said, lots.
Oh, no,
of them
no, no.
die.
Sorry. I thought you said sand bed. Have I got a sand bed?
Oh, no.
No. I don't have a sand-sifting goby. No. No, I'm not irresponsible.
See, another person said he said three, two starved, one jumped. It's interesting when you ask people, they all of a sudden they go, yeah, my diamond goby jumped out.
That's actually really useful feedback as well, because this is the sort of thing you might watch a video about it or read an article online, and it's not as useful as 10 people's real world experiences.
Yeah, another one. Everyone seems to be buying 3 of them. I've had 3, 2 jumped, 1 got fat, then died.
What about the 2-spot goby?
That's the smaller one, isn't it? The brown one.
Yeah. Are they sand sifters?
They are.
They are.
I
So they're
actually
the
heard
worst of them.
I think they're even harder than the other one.
Yeah.
I just think I find it so interesting that the poll says don't ban, but everyone who's giving their anecdotal evidence is saying I've had many that died. So it's like we don't need them. They're pretty cool because they put sand through their gills, but the reality is you don't need one to keep your sandbed clean.
I think fish are a bad choice to keep sand beds clean. I think so I've got on my Flevel Evo. My sand bed it's all right. It's not too bad, and I've got a pistol shrimp.
Yeah.
And he mows around the whole place, and he cleans patches, but he does a better job than most sand sifting fish, I bet.
I've got a sand-sifting clownfish.
Yeah, God, they're a pain when they do that. Like they do that, don't they, against the sand and blow everywhere. But yeah, okay, all right. So I'm going to end the poll there. We're at 69% say don't ban.
Basically we have lost every single one of these polls pretty much, except maybe 2.
Except the easiest possible ones. So
Yeah.
all right. So I'm going to crank it up a notch. Let's crank it up a notch. So. You know, the hypothetical person who doesn't like my channel, who watches it anyway, he wouldn't have liked Chromis. Well, he's going to hate this.
Okay.
Anthias.
Oh, that is
all Anthias. Every single species of Anthias.
Every one?
Every last bastard one of them. Wreckfish, ventralis, all of them. Every last Anthias.
That's like half the hobby, isn't it?
Ban them all.
Your next one's like, I think we should ban all tangs.
Yeah. But Anthias, and this is basically, I could have grouped these in with Chromis, to be fair. They're even worse, because almost all Anthias will do the same. You'll start with one. They're harder to feed. At least Chromis aren't that difficult to feed.
True.
But so not only have you got the fact that almost all of them are going to die, but also they're bloody difficult to feed, and you've got to feed an absolute ton to keep up with it. So I don't know, 10 times a day or whatever it might be, and that nobody is going to keep a tank that will benefit from being fed that much as a general rule. You look like you're.
Oh no! I thought sorry, I didn't realize you'd finished talking. So I was reading something.
Okay.
You know, this literally just today. You know the wreckfish. You know the orange ones. I can't.
Pinnate, yeah.
Yes, that's the name. They have are they Lito Anthias, I think is what they're
Lytail, yeah.
They're calling it. That's what I was thinking about having in the new tank. One massive angelfish and about 20 Anthias.
I mean, that's the thing, and they are cool as hell. I had 9 resplendent Anthias, and they looked, for like a day, they looked cool as hell. And then, but what I found is that after they were still alive, lots of them were still alive later on, but they'd massively faded. And this must be because I wasn't meeting their dietary requirements. But they were really bright pink, and then at the end they were just drab, boring.
I should probably say this guy's destroying my shop.
I know. He said that. I saw him today. I was in the shop today, and he said, "Oh God, you're gonna destroy."
I did think that when we were doing this, I thought to myself, some of the shops might not like this because maybe their biggest sellers are Anthias.
and that's it, and that's why I said at the start, this is not. I'm not saying, hey, we must ban these fish. Start a petition, ban them, ban them. It's just a lot. We're just having a laugh. It's just two fish guys talking. We're sharing, and I'm not saying these fish should be banned. I'm not about to start a petition.
Can we clarify? It's one fish guy and one fish influencer.
Finfluencer,
just having a chat.
two finfluencers.
I love that you don't like being called an influencer.
You've latched onto that, have you? Okay.
I have forever now.
But anyway, we'll move on from that. So but that's it. I'm not saying I genuinely want these fish to be banned. This is a light-hearted stream. It always is. I'm not being serious. I'm not saying this is really important. We must do something. I'm just talking about it. And what I found from last week's chat, when we were just talking about whether we like fish or don't like fish, it was so interesting to see what people think. Yeah. And that's what this is. So I find it interesting to see what people think. And so I'm not saying this, when I say ban or don't ban, I'm not saying that because I'm saying, guys, I need you to tell me whether you're banning or not. It's like hyperbole. I might as well say, I don't know. It's just, I'm not being serious. This is not a live stream whereby I'm insisting we start work on banning fish immediately. I'm so pro. I don't like nanny state stuff. I don't like being told what to do. I want to do whatever I want to do, frankly, within reason, and this counts as that as well. So that's not what I'm saying.
I've actually found both this week and last week really interesting to see the responses from people, because some of them absolutely have surprised me. Like, I've been surprised by some of the polls, especially this week, where you put forward an argument and people just go, "Yeah, we don't care."
Yeah, don't care, mate. Copperband's cool. and that, to be fair, if I was watching this, like on the Copperband in particular, I think I'd say don't ban.
Me too, because we would rather have a choice.
Because I want it.
Yeah, we'd rather have the choice to whether we would. Like, we can choose not to buy it if we want to.
Yeah.
But we don't. If you see what I mean. Yeah, I think that this could this live stream is actually probably quite good for the people that are maybe a little bit unsure about what fish they potentially should be buying. And they might see an Anthia and go, "Oh, that looks cool." And all of a sudden they hear you going, "Don't buy any Anthias." Now, that doesn't apply for everyone, but
no.
But
it gives you an idea of how difficult they are.
Yes, yeah.
So and that's actually, so go on.
I would say I've never had Anthias ever. The whole time I've never had Anthias until I was given some. I think I've got 4 or 5 of them the other day. That was it.
Why not? Why have you never had Anthias?
I've just never. I've never had them because I heard they're a pain in the ass to feed. That's the reason I never had them, and I am quite against giving myself a problem usually. If the fish can solve a problem like a copperband, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
But generally speaking, if a fish is high maintenance, like if someone said to you, you've got a massive tank big enough for a stingray. Do you want to get a stingray? And I'll go, well, do I have to get a stick and put a bit of fish on it and feed it every day by hand? Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'd rather not have a stingray. Sure.
And just going back to what you were saying a second ago, so about this is just like a discussion, and people might see it and think, oh, right, okay, that's food for thought. Yeah. Almost all of my videos are intended as food for thought. I set out to give people to get people to think about a perspective that perhaps they haven't thought about, or maybe they have. Yeah. But I never ever try to say you must not do this or you must do this. I'm trying to, and I might try to talk persuasively sometimes, but I try to give people. It's not. I'm not saying my way is right, everybody else is wrong, and that's what this is about as well. Anyway, I went there, didn't I, Anthias? And I'm going to end the poll with 71% said don't ban, unsurprisingly.
I have my next one, and this is controversial, especially considering the logo of my channel.
Yes, I love controversial.
And it's especially considering they are one of my favorite fish, and that is boxfish. They're just not a good choice for people. The problem is they're just too cool. So if you put a boxfish in a shop and people don't know what it is, and they go, I want to have one of those, they'll buy it because it looks cool.
It does.
But they are not a great fish for people to have. I had one for a long time. That's not the only one I've had. I've had 3, I think. 2 of them died. I got lucky with Pablo. For many years, I got lucky with Pablo. Pablo wasn't actually picked by me. He was actually Pablo was picked by someone else, by one of my
I
ladies'
know who
mates. Yeah,
Miss Saltwater Tank.
it was Miss Saltwater Tank. Yes. So yeah, she picked Pablo, and for a long, long time, I went, no, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. I don't want it. It's too much hassle. I don't want there to be a problem. And then you get this pretty lady in your life. She walks into a fish shop. She goes, I won't have that fish, and I'm like, oh God, you can have whatever you want. So I'm like, should we take two? But Pablo was one of a kind, I think, and not one of a kind. Generally speaking, they do get massive, they do get ugly. Pablo actually did change color. He was gradually changing color as he got bigger, but they just randomly die, and no one knows why. It's not like they'll randomly die because they're not eating, like a copperband, or they literally just randomly die.
I wonder if it's because they've been eating all along, but because they've only been eating mysis shrimp, there's something missing from their diet, and it gets to the point where, like, because you can, BRS always talk about this, you can eat chicken nuggets every day and live till you're 60, and then you suddenly die, and you'd be like, God, I wonder why Dave died. And it's like, because he only ate chicken nuggets.
yeah.
So I wonder if it's something like that, but I don't know.
I don't know. Usually they're difficult to get feeding, or quite often they're difficult to get feeding.
Right.
But people just love them. If you see, boxfish rarely hang around in shops for very long, because especially if you find a boxfish in a shop that's feeding, it will usually sell pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So, but I did try again after Pablo, and I've just gone no, never again now. So
is this just yellow boxfish or all boxfish?
Oh, the yellow ones are the easiest boxfish. That's anecdotal. That's what people say. There is a Hawaiian boxfish, the male
Blue
one.
one.
Yes, the male one is such a cool fish, and the females are black with white spots, but they are even worse apparently for.
All right, I've gone with yellow boxfish in that case for the.
Oh, I see. I wonder why you asked. I thought you were going to try and get a picture of the Hawaiian ones, because the
No, they're cool. They're
a
not
lot
as
of
cool
people
as
wouldn't have seen the Hawaiian ones.
I'll bring them up. I've seen them in shops though, but Hawaiian.
See, this is one that I'm shocked by. There's also the other thing, because people are saying don't ban for this. I'm just really shocked. And there is a myth that boxfish can nuke your tank. I have had boxfish die in the tank. It didn't kill everything. I had a boxfish die and disappear, and it didn't kill everything. So from those two bits, that definitely doesn't. Now, I'm not saying it can't release a toxin.
I was going to say, yeah.
I'm not saying in a different circumstance, if it died while it was stressed, for example, it could release a toxin, but it isn't the case of where they die, they kill everything. That just isn't how it works.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that's the Hawaiian boxfish. And interestingly, actually, that fish is banned because it's in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, that one, yeah.
So, yeah. All right, let's have a look. Oh, 50-50.
I know, I'm amazed.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I thought it would be higher, would say don't ban. I think it's a really cool fish.
It is
Again,
a cool fish.
I have no interest in keeping it.
Yeah.
But that's such a cool fish.
Oh, it's even close now. It's literally 49.51.
Do you know what? Okay, so we've got 230 people watching and 60 people have voted.
Yeah.
Do me a favour, because this is the closest poll we've had. If you haven't voted, vote on the poll. Either way, I don't mind which way you vote, but just do vote. I'll keep the poll up for another 30 seconds, and if we get to 100 odd votes, we'll see where it ends up.
It's interesting that's the most closest one of all of them. There were some that I just knew we would lose. The Mandarin, we knew we'd lose.
Copperbanded, Chromis, Anthias, all of mine basically, apart from the groupers.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
okay. Well, I'm gonna end it there because we're getting close to 100 votes. So if you haven't voted yet, you need to do so now. My mouse is moving. I'm hovering over it. End poll.
I swear, look, someone mentions whale sharks every single
I know.
stream. Someone went, is Jason, are you the same person who mentions them every week?
It must be.
Are you the whale shark man?
I think that's a joke.
Of course, but it's definitely a joke.
No one I know, but it's like I don't really get it. It is.
I think Jason mentioned them. Well, someone definitely mentioned them last week. I don't know if it was Jason.
It was, yeah. But anyway, okay. So we've done boxfish, which was really close. Next one on my list, I got 2 left. How many have you got left?
I mean, there's one which I have, which is more of a general whole collection of fish, and I can't really talk much about it because I don't know much about them. And I've got one other one.
Okay, so we've both got 2 basically.
Yeah.
All right, my last one. Yeah, I know, but this one isn't. This one, I think. I don't know. This one I'm going to go for anyway, and we'll see what people say. Moorish idols.
Oh, now I've only got one left.
Is that one of yours?
That was
Oh, right.
mine.
I'm interested. Okay, so with Moorish idols are there was a study done about 10 years ago that's basically just they're absolutely impossible to keep. 99 out of 100 die basically.
Yeah.
I feel like that's changing a little bit lately, and BRS talk about the guy. What's the long-haired guy called that they picked up recently? I can't remember his name. Julian? I can't remember now. He's a bit of an expert, and he reckons that it's because they what's the word? It's basically his diet, and he says, well, if you feed them mysis shrimp, yeah, they're going to die.
Yeah.
If you feed them something else, whether it's spirulina or I don't know what it is, they're fine. I remain to be convinced of that because he's a legitimate source and BRS is a legitimate source, but I don't want to hear one person's view and then say, bang, yeah, that's it. I want to see 100 people have success or 1,000 people have success. So, but anyway, they are extremely difficult to keep. They get quite big.
Yeah.
And they just die. I don't know what their diet is. There's a lot of talk that they only eat sponges in the wild, or they need sponges in their diet.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually true, but they just.
Sean is saying you're wrong.
Moorish idols are not hard anymore. That's why I was. So this is why I wasn't completely sure about this.
I met someone at Sean's place that was breeding Moorish idols.
Yes, you told me. Yeah.
I don't know how he had success. With them. He did say that when you first get them in, that's the most difficult stage. Well, like when you first import them, that's the difficult stage. But he did. I didn't go into how he was keeping them alive. If you see what I mean. So some people are having more success than before. Yeah. What was interesting, I don't know if this is still the case, but Maidenhead Aquatics used to have a list of fish which are banned, they're not banned. You can get them, but they will not bring in. So the red-tailed catfish, for example, in terms of am I boring you?
Fresh water.
Oh, sorry, you're sitting there yawning, are you? Red-tailed catfish are one of the things on that list that they had displayed, saying they will not bring this in. And for the freshwater section, they had Moorish idols. Now I don't know if that's still. Saltwater section. Yeah, sorry. Thank you for correcting me. By the way, I don't know what I'm talking about.
I'm listening. You're not boring me.
No, but yeah. So they had it on the wall. Now I don't know if that was all maidenheads. I don't know if that's certain maidenheads, and I don't know if they still applied to that rule. Prize pack.
Oh, I nearly got him. I got him.
Should we do a poll? Just say who would rather just watch Alex swat a fly?
I got it. It's still alive. It's going out the window. There you go.
I'll
set it free. It's just stunned, people.
Oh, just stunned. Yes, it's stunned and flattened.
So Sean talked about supply chain is shorter, has improved.
Yeah,
and that's helped.
Oh, there you go, mate.
And this is why the study I saw was 10 years old, and that doesn't really mean a lot because it's so out of date. But even then, they get big, don't they? How big do they get?
They do get quite large.
So, what other reasons would you say they should not be?
It was exactly what you've said. As I said, I did speak to someone, and they are having more success, but they're doing it in a lab, I believe. So it's not like just the average hobbyist, and that's what this list really is for. It's just for the average hobbyist. I wouldn't get one myself, partly because they obviously eat coral. Not all of them do, but some of them do eat coral.
So this is according to Wikipedia, and again, Wikipedia is not exactly the most reliable source for everything, but it says feeding, and it says there's no citation for this, but sponges, coral polyps, tunicates, and benthic invertebrates constitute the bulk of Moorish idols' diet. Take that with a pinch of salt because it's Wikipedia, but they are a bad choice.
It doesn't say pellet food.
It doesn't say pellet food. No.
Just double check.
That's a really good point. Actually, is even if supply chain's improving and our understanding of their diet is improving, all this sort of stuff, it's still unsuitable because they're massive.
Yeah.
And they need a big tank, and we might be improving, but until we've actually figured out how to keep them as easily as any other fish,
Yeah.
and until the food is readily available, and they'll eat any food you get.
Yeah.
The whole point of what we're saying here is these are fish that are going to be in a shop that will be tempting to people who haven't done all this research and haven't spent time working out what their diet is.
Yeah.
They're just going in going, oh, that's cool, I'll buy that. So if you take them away, and then you can still buy a Moorish idol, that's fine. It's just you've got to special order it. Then it sorts the wheat from the chaff, as it were.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Everyone's talking about that fly.
David, I know, yeah.
I know,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why. I like you always watch me so carefully. You know, because I smile when I see something funny, and you're always like, "What's he laughing at? What's he laughing at?"
And I can't post the chats. I can only post the comments, but I can't post them at the moment. I've lost that ability in the last half an hour or whatever.
Don't worry, there'll be a better viewing next week or whenever we're babs to this next week, because we're using a different system next week, a better one.
Software. All right, so Moorish idols. Well, so that was both of ours. So what's your final one in that case?
There are, look, I don't know enough about this, but there are certain butterfly fish which only eat coral. I think they're called obligated corallivores. I think is what they're
Obligate corallivores.
There you go, close enough. You can see how I just wing it half the time.
Swing and a miss.
I can't even tell you the names of them. I can tell you what some of them look like, because some of them have got like an orange face with and they're like a fingerprint, with the stripes on it. So you might be able to find some of them, but those will never work. If the only thing they eat is coral, good luck feeding them.
So I thought about this and putting obligate corallivores, it's butterfly fish mostly, on the list.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the reason I didn't is because you never see them in shops.
Sometimes you do.
Do you?
I saw one recently. I literally saw that orange one. I don't know the name of it. The one with the orange face. Sean probably might know what it is, because he obviously. I don't deal with fish, do I? I deal with corals, so it's, I'm not that good with fish I don't buy. Butterfly fish corallivore. Let me Google it. This is great viewing as we both quickly Google it.
Yeah, this is. I'm reading the chat. Well, whilst you're doing that, then. So someone said, "I was late to the party. Have you discussed fauna, which would be ethically unsound to have in the hobby?" That's basically what this chat is about, really, kind of. Either from the environmental impact, animal impact, or human impact. Yeah, we have. For loads of stuff. The lionfish fitted into that category quite closely.
I can't find it. If I'm honest.
Can't find it.
No.
But so I never see obligate corallivores unless maybe I do and I just don't know that's what they are. Because butterfly fish generally, I look at like the what are they called, yellow longnose and the copperband. Obviously I look at, but beyond that maybe a raccoon butterfly and pyramids, those sorts of things. But most butterflies I don't pay any attention to because I've got no interest in keeping them.
I'm the same as you. So Sean says he has had some. I really want to know what that. I found
really?
it.
We had some when you came to see us. Oh, really? Me? I can't remember that.
It's called
today.
The triangle butterfly fish is one of the ones that only eats. I've seen one of these. I believe it's one of these anyway. It could be a very similar looking fish.
Oh, really? That's an obligate corallivore. Eastern triangle butterfly.
Yeah.
Catered on Baronessa. This looks like another Pakistani butterfly. Let me bring this one up anyway. Add to dynamic.
Yeah, that's the one. That was what I was thinking of.
So that only eats corals.
I believe that's true. But there's a whole range, a whole family of them, I believe, which only eat corals, and they're just not good ideas. And you see them sometimes. I said I've definitely seen one of those.
Oh, interesting. Well, it's by an aquapora coral, and look what fish is in the background. Your mate, the old undulated triggerfish.
That's the one thing we both missed off. There's some triggerfish are so aggressive, like unbelievably aggressive.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what? Actually, so I was going to do a video about. I think I was going to do a video about this subject. I can't remember. But anyway, I was umming and ahhing whether to put. Maybe it was for this. I can't remember. I was thinking about whether to put clown triggers on this. Because that's a perfect example whereby they're small and cute in the shop, but they get big and bloody hell, they're aggressive.
The worst triggerfish I've ever seen was a jigsaw triggerfish, and
Okay.
they will literally try and bite you through the glass. They are. It was the most aggressive. You couldn't put your hand near the tank. It was at the fish shop because if you put your hand near the tank, it would try and jump out of the water. I'm not exaggerating. I promise you. I swear on my life, that is what this was like. It was the fish would literally try. You know what I'm talking about when I say jigsaw triggerfish?
I don't. Let me
It was
just
about
Google.
this big, so it wasn't a small one. And when it bit you, which it didn't bite me, but it definitely bit the owner, it made you like it left a mark.
Oh, they are cool.
Yes, they're cool,
Yeah,
but they're
yeah,
well
yeah. Get
mean.
that up. So I've got a really good appropriate video for this, but let me just get this up first because I've seen these in the shop loads. Yeah. And that's a
Well,
baby, obviously.
Yeah, I've obviously it was an adult, the one that I saw, but I'd never seen a trigger like it. I've seen you do get triggerfish that are aggressive. I'm sure one of your video has a triggerfish trying to bite you through a glass, doesn't it?
Well, that's the video I'm going to show because this was the coolest. This is like I don't do much on Instagram, but I post videos from time to time, and they normally get 2,000 views. This video got 60,000 views.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put the music. I'm going to put the sound on because you need to see the sound with this. And so I'm going to when I share the screen, which I'm going to have to remove that now and then share screen again, share system audio, share change scene. Wow, here we go. Right, it's flickering. Here we go. Play. Can you hear that?
Mean.
There we go. Hang on. There we go. And that was the noise it was actually making.
Well, that other one, I can hear myself now.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Hang on.
Now I'm backstage. Now you brought me back. That other one was literally. I assume that one probably would be similar then. It's just unreasonably aggressive.
I talked to Ed at Reef Keeper Windsor, like really respected guy in the industry. Actually, he was going to say hobby, but he's been. I'm sure he is. Either he or someone he knows went scuba diving. I think it was him, and they swam past some triggerfish.
Yeah.
They're like their den or whatever, 10 meters away from them.
Yeah.
And these triggers went up and swam up and bit them and like biting chunks out of their legs basically.
No,
They're not messing around.
It happened to me while I was scuba diving, but where they take like as soon as it starts to happen. At first, you don't know what's happened to you. You're just swimming along, and all of a sudden, you've come across some like not happy fish. And I remember swimming backwards, and it was like biting my flippers. I'm like, I'm trying to get away from you. Leave me alone. But they are so mean triggers. There's some triggers are like really like they actually warn you when you scuba dive in Australia about queen triggerfish. I don't know, Titan triggerfish, where they actually have the Titan triggerfish is what's it called? Like the area that it defends. What's that called? Territory, yeah, is a V shape. So if you swim out of the V, you're okay apparently.
I've seen these guys, yeah. Let me just let me bring it in. These are they just look badass, don't they? You wouldn't want to mess with them.
Those I've seen those. That wasn't what attacked me, but that is a massive fish. That's not a small fish. That's a fish with teeth the size of your thumb, basically.
You can see a Hystrix colony in the background. Actually, there's a wrasse of some kind. I can't work out what it is, but there's for content. Yeah, so it's 18, and they're big lunar wrasse.
Yeah.
So that must be 2 feet long.
Yeah, they are massive. And they have teeth exactly the same as that clown trigger you showed a minute ago, just massive teeth. So
I'll come back onto triggers in a sec, but the poll for obligate corallivores, and this is how pro-freedom people are, 76% say ban, 24% say don't ban a fish that nobody in the hobby can keep alive, basically.
Yeah, so odd.
And that's one fish that can you drip acclimate a whale shark?
I know. It's just...
Whale sharks aren't mean, but yeah. So that's I mean that's one fish that I'm saying I know this is a joke and we're only messing around. If you came to me and said, Alex, if you would like to, you can ban. We will give you that power. You can ban obligate corallivores from entering the hobby,
Yeah.
except for special order. Would you do it? I'd say yes.
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
that's stop, because special order, fine. If you want to feed it corals, I mean, it's weird. I don't know who'd do it, but fine. But
That's basically what I'm doing with my next tank. So
well, yeah, well, but that's an experiment.
yeah, true.
That was. Oh yeah, no. So are you saying then, Ryan, that you want to add triggerfish to your list of fish that should be banned from the hobby?
Not all triggerfish. No.
Because that's what I heard.
No, that's not what you heard. Some triggerfish I really like. The blue throats, I like the fact that they are sexually dimorphic, so you can tell the difference between male and females, which is quite rare in fish. You don't get that very often. And even in ones where you do get it, like things like Banggai cardinals and even flame angels, there is some level of sexual dimorphism. You don't. It's not very clear. So, I would. There are some triggerfish that I definitely would say are just someone has said that they've seen a Titan triggerfish in a shop once, and I believe them because I've seen a Titan triggerfish in a shop. I know. Wow. I know. You just think, you think that is not going to go well.
So what? I'm going to do a poll on triggers then. What ones do you want?
Mean triggerfish.
No, that's too. You need to tell people.
I said the jigsaw triggerfish definitely. The clown triggerfish I don't have a problem with because generally people that get those fish are keeping them in a tank with other fish. You're not going to go get a clown triggerfish and put it in a reef tank. Generally, that's just not what people do. No. You only get a clown triggerfish if you've got a lionfish and a pufferfish and an eel. Tank. Yeah, like a predator tank. So there are some places where they are fine, but some triggers have just got a bad attitude.
Jason is stepping up the whale shark bans. My whale shark is a picky eater. Can I feed it flakes?
For someone who's asking an awful lot about whether you can import them or things like that, we now find out he's actually got one. So if anything, you know the answer to all your questions.
Triggerfish. So which triggerfish do you want to put on the poll?
As I said, definitely the jigsaw triggerfish, but most people wouldn't have had. I'm assuming triggerfish have different families like tangs because some of them look different. So a clown trigger. I don't know for sure.
Probably, yeah.
But a clown trigger looks very different to a blue throat trigger. Like the mouth is completely different. So
I've put jigsaw triggerfish up. I think that this is people probably don't know what a jigsaw triggerfish, even though so we can take this with a significant pinch of salt.
Yeah. Jigsaw trigger's going. Whoa, guys! Why are you singling me out?
Yeah, well, sorry, mate, but you shouldn't have been such an aggressive bastard, should you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do you don't have any more fish, right?
No, I am done. I'm done.
We're getting close to the 2 hour mark, which is when we normally stop. But I've just seen this thing that says engage with your audience.
Oh yeah.
And actually, let me start by ending that poll. So 72% said we should ban the jigsaw triggerfish, whatever that jigsaw is. And I ended that poll early because I wanted to do this. But you go to create a poll. It gives you 2 options. 1, create a poll. 2, start a Q&A. What's that?
I'm assuming they can ask questions.
Yeah, so I'm going to try it. It says I've got to type something. So I'm going to say, what's this? And I'm going to start the Q&A and see what happens. I think that you'll be able to answer questions to this pinned comment effectively.
Oh, yeah, it says ask something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, here we go. So it's given a little question. So, yeah, let's see. We've got 5 minutes. So if you've got questions you want to ask, any topic, you can talk about these fish. What shampoo do you use? How hairy is Ryan's chest? Any topic.
Someone written that.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows, I was the person that wrote what shampoo do you use.
Well, it says Prestige Reef, so yeah. Can you not see this?
No, I can't see what it says. I can't see that.
So okay. Anyway, I don't know how this works, to be honest. Can you use seagrass to export nutrients from a deep sound bed?
Only you can see these, so I can't see these.
Oh, really? This is a bad idea. It's not going. I've got no idea. How much do I have to pay to change your wallpaper? Are you two dating? And what's your secret to just apple shine like Alex? Asking for a friend. Apple shine, I think.
I'm assuming that's what he's referring to. I don't know, but what I find interesting is that when these are secret, so they're anonymous, people go for it. In the chat, people have not said any of these things so far. If you see
It's
what I
very
mean.
true. Alkalinity sweet spot for SPS corals. Write down the numbers 7, 8, 9, 10 on a piece of paper, and then tear them up into individual numbers. Throw them all up in the air. Close your eyes. Grab one of them, and then whatever that number says is your sweet spot.
There you go. See, that's how dangerous being an influencer is, because now everyone's going to do that and change it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna end that Q&A because I don't like it. I don't like that feature. Sorry.
It would be okay if I don't know. I prefer it when people ask questions in the comments section.
Exactly. Yeah, and if you can't see it, and I don't know if everybody can see it, and if everybody can't see it, what's the point?
No, well, if I can't remember, I'm watching it on YouTube,
that's
so everyone definitely can't see it.
How many copper bands did you have before success, Alex? At least 3. Maybe 4 or maybe 5. I can't remember. I did talk about this in my first copper band video, I think. I did a few copper band videos. And I remember trying to work out how many I'd had. So if you watch those videos, they'll give you a better idea, more accurate. But I think probably 4 died, maybe.
I have Josh's, the person who asked the question, I have his old copper band. So he's asking that.
Okay.
Because I bought that copper band off him a long time ago when he got rid of all. He's gone for a clownfish only tank, but now he regrets it and he wants it back. But
Okay.
it's with his adopted family now.
There's 2 things I'm going to pull up. One is a question. The second one is alkalinity of 7 in an SPS nano, otherwise 7 to 10. I find that a really weird way to look at it. Why would you have 7 in an SPS nano tank?
No idea.
Anyway,
If anything, that seems very, very close to the
not giving yourself margin for error. So
No.
yeah. Anyway, explain what you mean. Who was that? The realist PJ. Let me know why you say that. And the other one was, is smuggling corals on the Eurostar moral? Well, it's illegal for a start.
It is illegal.
And
That is a very interesting question. And the reason it's an interesting question is because if you went back 2.5 years or whatever Brexit was, it wasn't illegal. So it's not illegal because of for any reason. No, it's nothing to do with coral or anything. It literally is just is it bureaucracy? Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Paperwork and stuff like that. That's the only reason that it's illegal. So if you went 2.5 years ago, or if we hadn't voted to leave the European Union, it wouldn't be illegal. It's as simple as that. So it's something that was. Imagine if tomorrow they banned alcohol.
yeah,
Is it all of a sudden alcohol is now illegal, but it wasn't illegal for the last forever? Do you see what I mean? So is it morally, if they banned alcohol tomorrow, you still drank alcohol? Is that a moral issue? As far as I'm concerned, not really.
I feel we should be a little bit careful with this. But my honest answer, no filter answer is, I've got no problem whatsoever with that.
Look,
It is illegal, so I'm not encouraging it. I'm not going to do it myself. I'm not saying you should do it. But there is in my opinion, there is nothing wrong with that. And there's also nothing wrong with smuggling corals back from, morally speaking, I'm talking, smuggling, bringing corals back from America. What's the harm?
I understand what you're saying by what's the harm. I think that it in terms of for the person itself, for the person doing it, if you're doing it on the Eurostar or you're going on a plane through customs or whatever, there's 2 very different levels of seriousness.
Just morality. Yeah, but why? What's the difference? Like, if you get caught, that's a problem.
Yes, of course. Like, you
But
remember,
what
you're
about
talking to someone who's, I never even had a detention, so
No, exactly. And this is the thing. I'm very risk averse. That I'm not about to do that. As cool as it would be, but for the reason I'm saying this is because I think it's fine. No, it's not fine. I don't think it's immoral.
someone's going to take a clip of you going, I think it's fine.
Yeah. I don't think it's immoral to bring corals back on the Eurostar from Germany, for example. Euro corals into the south of Germany. I don't think that's immoral because it's not like you're going to release a lionfish into Florida.
Yes.
If you put an aquapora frag into the English Channel, I don't think it's going to survive very long.
Probably
So,
not.
as far as I'm concerned, there is no problem morally with it whatsoever. I'm not encouraging it. Do not do it. It is against the law. You'll get arrested, and you'll stay at Her Majesty's pleasure, and then you'll ruin your life. Your wife will leave you. You'll get sacked from your job, and your friends won't like you.
BN3 reefing is a policeman. He comes to the
law
coral
will
farm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he actually is a policeman. so go and arrest Alex.
But no, don't arrest me because I'm saying don't do it, and we're just discussing morals.
I know what you're saying.
So what? So tell me I'm wrong.
No. All as I said, if you went back 2.5 years, it wasn't illegal. It's only illegal now because of an imaginary line which has been drawn by two governments going, you now can't do this. That's all it is. It's not doing harm to anything. It potentially could harm. Don't get me wrong. The industry could be if it was in the newspaper about people smuggling coral, then the industry could be affected.
Very true.
That is definitely.
And if do you know what? And if I bought over a coral from America or from Europe, and then I didn't tell you where I got it from, and you were, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you want a frag of it? And then you started selling it.
Yeah.
You are then inadvertently selling corals that have been illegally imported, and then I'm not and then it goes into shops and they sell it as well, and then suddenly, hang on, shops in the UK are selling these corals illegally. So is that kind of what you're saying?
So it's more of if so, like I remember there was an article, and this is not as a one person bringing in one frag or something like that. This is it was in Manchester, people bringing in corals literally illegally. Like boxes and boxes of them, and it went to court, and I don't know if they got in trouble or what, but this was a long time ago now. That has a negative impact on the industry because the public don't look at that. They look at that and go, oh, that person's destroying the ocean. It's like it's bad publicity.
Oh yeah, that to me though is totally different.
Yes,
that is going to a shop that sells corals.
Yes, but okay, take it differently then. So a newspaper, for whatever reason, it's a slow news day, and someone it says man caught with coral in suitcase, in like wherever. It doesn't say they came from America or wherever. There was someone that was going from America to Mexico, doing it, and they got caught, and they got in trouble, like serious trouble. I think you are not allowed to do it. That's to do with CITES permits in America. But with regards to Europe, as I said, we were always allowed to do it for the last 40 years. All the time we were in the European Union, we were allowed to do it. And it affected me massively because at first the only place I used to get corals from was from Europe. They were the only suppliers that would deal with me. And I started the coral farm about a month before Brexit. And it was great. I was bringing these corals in, and then all of a sudden they went, "We can't deal with you anymore." Not because we literally cannot get them to you. It's the fact that I would have to get CITES permits for them, and they have to do, I think, CITES export permits, and they just go, "It's not worth it. It's literally not worth it for us." And that's why it becomes a problem, I believe.
Okay, fine, but the thing is, I think that's still different from going to a shop that sells corals, buying that coral and bringing it back, because this is the equivalent of buying a load of fags from this is like what people used to do in the 90s or whatever. Go to France, you buy a load of cigarettes on duty free, you bring them back, and then you sell a packet to your mate.
I know what you're saying. I do know what you're saying.
That is illegal. That you should not do that.
Yeah.
But is it immoral? Is anyone going to get the knickers in a twist about it? And again, I really want to be so clear. No taking the piss. Deadly serious. That is not. I'm not encouraging that. I'm not suggesting you should do it.
Yeah.
It's bad. I'm just discussing morality.
As I said, it's a difficult one for as I said, regarding Europe, because we always had access to it. And if it wasn't so difficult with the CITES permits, there's lots of stuff you can still trade with Europe now, isn't there? So, but the problem with the CITES permits are what makes it difficult. If you want to trade, I don't know, something that doesn't need CITES permits with Europe. Let's say you want to trade cheese with Europe. I'm sure it's much easier than trying to trade corals with Europe, if you see what I mean. we became sort of this an industry that suffered that no one thought about.
Completely.
No one went. What's the impacts between the trade between Europe and England for corals? No one thought about that. They thought about fish and cheese and other things.
Yeah.
Because what they should have done is they should have gone, look, it's been like this for the last 40 years. Although you're leaving the European Union, at the same as what we've done with other things, we'll keep it the same, but we'll tweak certain things where they've made it literally impossible to trade with them. So
there's a comment that's just come up. I don't know if this is talking about you or me, Mo's Reef, but didn't you vote for Brexit? He might be talking about you, the country.
Oh, I didn't vote at all because I didn't care, if I'm honest.
Okay, I didn't vote for Brexit. I don't have a problem with Brexit. Some people really do, but I didn't vote for it. I voted against it. But if that is me, it's interesting because I wonder where he's got that from. Because I've never said it because I didn't vote for it.
You look like the sort of person that would vote for Brexit. I'm just joking. There is no sort of person that would vote for it. Actually, I'm pretty sure they're like 70 or 80.
Oh, we might be talking to... Anyway, whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to go down politics. I hate politics.
Yeah.
I'm going to wrap up this live stream as well. We've got rid of a fly, which is good.
Yeah.
Liberated, set him free. And we've talked about a lot of controversial fish that should be banned, and nobody agreed with any of us. So
that's true. So looks like they're not getting banned.
And next week we're going to be doing... So last week we did rating fish.
Yeah.
So you had really bad taste, and we established that.
I won almost all of them, other than the fact that everyone said I was so negative.
All right, everybody except for me has bad taste in that case. Next week we're going to do rating corals, if you're up for it, of course. I think people seem to be more interested in fish than corals, but I really want to do vote because I'm interested to see. Because actually, going back, a couple of weeks ago, someone commented on a live stream, all of your corals are run of the mill, talking about me. And I was like, I don't care.
In fact, none of your corals are run of the mill.
What does that even mean? But anyway,
look, there are some corals which are very, very common, aren't they? Like hystrix, for example. But you don't have things like that in your tank.
Anyway, whatever. But the point is, I thought about that. I thought, I wonder actually, because I don't care. Obviously, I want people to like my tank, and I want it to look good for the internet. But all that matters is me, and it's what everybody should do is try to please yourself, as it were. But I'm interested to see. Because I think some of my corals look stunning, and I'm interested to see if we post these, like, so my cold tang, no one likes that. So if I post my strawberry shortcake next week, does everyone think it's horrible? Really interested.
Yeah.
And so we'll do loads of corals.
Someone came to the coral farm today, and they said that they saw the stream and they wanted one of your cold tanks.
Brilliant.
And I was like, oh, pelagic swimmer is very, very specific. See, he's put Latin names.
Are you using Latin names?
I believe it's now scientific names, isn't it, rather than Latin names?
Someone commented on my video from this weekend.
Yeah.
Because I put the species names of the corals. I didn't just say strawberry shortcake. I put Aquapora microclados because I thought that was useful. But because with all YouTube, all my titles, I capitalize every word. I know it's grammatically incorrect. I was a lawyer, that's important, blah, blah, blah. But in the titles for the Aquapora microclados, I capitalized Aquapora and microclados. And that really wound someone up, and they were like,
it was pelagic
him.
swimmer. And you know what's funny? Literally just before that video, and obviously before that comment, he was here and he mentioned it to me that he's got this pet peeve about people doing... Funny. I think it's to do with the capital letter, I think, of the second part of the sign. Yes, he mentioned it to me, and then you did it.
He's going,
So...
Yeah, and it was him. Yeah, he said. But yeah, and actually, to be fair, pelagic swimmer, I'll give you this. I did think after that. That's what I do for titles and that sort of stuff. But I don't really know why. Yeah. But next time I put Latin names in a video, I will not capitalize the second word.
I was told that they're not Latin names anymore. They're classified as scientific names. So can you get that right too? That was literally on one of my comments a while ago. I don't know if it's true, but that genuinely was one of my comments.
I don't know if it is true, but I like a bit of Latin. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to end the stream. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and for bullshit. I'm going to show that because it's blocked it. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Again, I love the engagement on this, and I love getting your perspective. So really pleased with that. And Ryan, Oh, one thing I wanted to say about you. So Ryan sells corals, prestigereef.co.uk, and does consultations.
Oh,
So if you
true.
want a paid chat, someone asked, when are we going to get paid consultations? Ryan does them. I don't, but Ryan does. So go through his website, book him up, and tell him I sent you and that you want him to pay me 10% commission.
And 20% discount today. The code's on the website, so it's at the top of the screen. So if you want to go buy some corals for 20% off,
20%.
today's the day.
Buy one of those golden Gonioporas. I paid full price.
I'm running out of them. I've had so many people buy them now.
Oh, they're so nice, honestly. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. I will catch you all next week.